presented by Soundlibra.com. Explore more titles via the link in the description or at Soundlibra.com. Welcome to Stress Proof Your Life. I'm Alex, and I'm thrilled you're joining us.
And I'm Lisa. So excited to explore how we can build real resilience against life's inevitable stressors.
Me too. Just a quick heads up before we jump in. While we're sharing research-backed strategies, this podcast is for educational purposes and isn't a substitute for professional medical or mental health advice. Always consult with a qualified professional regarding your specific health needs.
That's an important reminder. Now, today we're setting the foundation for something truly life-changing. Imagine facing challenges with calm instead of chaos, with clarity instead of confusion. That's what we'll be building together.
Exactly. And you've hit on why most stress management approaches fail. They're reactive, not proactive. Most people wait until they're drowning in stress before trying to swim, rather than building a boat before the storm even appears.
Interesting metaphor. So, we're talking about building something that prevents us from getting overwhelmed in the first place?
Precisely. This entire series is about creating resilient systems, structures, habits, and mindsets that prepare you for stress before it happens. It's like having an immune system for your mental well-being. When properly trained, this system can recognize stressors early and mount an appropriate response.
I love that analogy. So, this isn't just about coping mechanisms when things get bad?
Not all. While we'll cover those too, the real power lies in proactive design. Think of it like this. You wouldn't wait until your house is on fire to install smoke detectors, right? You put them in place beforehand to prevent disaster. Similarly, resilient systems act as early warning and prevention systems for your stress response.
Absolutely makes sense. So, we're talking about being prepared rather than just reacting.
Exactly. Over the next 27 episodes, we're going to build a comprehensive stress-proofing system. We'll start by understanding your personal stress landscape, then create tools for daily resilience, master recovery techniques, and design an anti-fragile lifestyle that actually grows stronger through challenges.
27 episodes sounds like a lot. How will we keep this manageable for listeners?
Great question. We've structured this as a progressive journey. Each episode builds on the last, creating a complete system by the end. We start with small, manageable foundations and gradually build complexity, just like constructing a building from the ground up. This approach ensures that each concept is fully absorbed before we move to the next.
So, listeners won't feel overwhelmed by the scope?
Not all. Each episode focuses on one key component, making it digestible and actionable. We'll use the tell them what you'll tell them, tell them what you told them approach to reinforce learning. Plus, Lisa will be here to help clarify and summarize as we go, making complex concepts accessible to everyone.
That's reassuring. I think my role as the curious listener will help others relate to the concepts too and feel more comfortable asking questions they might have.
Perfect. And remember, this isn't about eliminating stress entirely. That's impossible and actually counterproductive. The goal is to build systems that allow you to navigate stress effectively, transforming it from a destructive force into a growth opportunity. Research shows that moderate stress, when properly managed, enhances performance, creativity, and resilience.
That's a powerful shift, seeing stress as something that can actually help us grow rather than just something to avoid.
Absolutely. The key is the relationship you have with stress, not stress itself. We'll explore that relationship in depth throughout this series. It's about developing what psychologists call stress inoculation, gradually exposing yourself to manageable stressors in a controlled way, building your capacity to handle larger challenges over time.
That makes sense. It's like building muscles through progressive resistance training.
Perfect analogy. Just as you wouldn't try to lift the heaviest weight on day one, we won't throw you into the most stressful situations immediately. We'll start small and build your stress handling muscles gradually. This progressive approach prevents overwhelm while steadily increasing your capacity.
I'm starting to see how this systematic approach could really work. But what about when life throws unexpected curveballs? How do these systems hold up then?
That's where the beauty of these systems shines through. By building comprehensive resilience across multiple domains, physical, mental, emotional, and social, you create redundancy. When one area is challenged, the others provide support. It's like a safety net with multiple layers. If one thread breaks, the others catch you.
So it's not about having one perfect solution, but rather multiple interconnected strategies?
Precisely. Think of it like a garden. You don't just plant one type of crop and hope for the best. You create a diverse ecosystem where different plants support each other, creating resilience against pests, weather changes, and other challenges. Some plants might thrive in certain conditions while others struggle, but the overall garden remains healthy and productive.
That's a great visual. So over these 27 episodes, we'll be cultivating this garden of resilience?
Exactly. And today, we're just planting the first seeds. In our next episode, we'll begin exploring your personal stress landscape. We'll start by understanding what specifically stresses you and how it manifests in your life. This self-awareness is absolutely essential before we can build effective countermeasures. Without knowing where the problems are, we can't design the right solutions.
So the first step is getting really clear about our individual stress patterns?
Absolutely. Without that foundation, any stress management techniques we apply will be like trying to fix a leak without knowing where the water is coming from. We need to understand the problem intimately before we can design the right solution. This isn't about judgment. It's about gathering information to help yourself.
That makes perfect sense. So listeners should come prepared to do some self-reflection for the next episode?
Yes, exactly. We'll provide some simple frameworks to help them map their stress landscape. It's not about being perfect, it's about developing awareness. Remember, the goal is progress, not perfection. Small, consistent actions compound over time to create significant change.
I love that mantra, progress, not perfection. It takes the pressure off while still encouraging growth.
Exactly. And that's the mindset we'll cultivate throughout this entire journey. We're not looking for overnight transformations. We're building sustainable systems that grow with you over time. Think of it like learning a musical instrument. You don't become a virtuoso in a day, but with consistent practice, you gradually improve and build mastery.
So this is about creating lasting change rather than quick fixes?
Absolutely. Quick fixes might work temporarily, but true resilience comes from building systems that become second nature. Like learning to ride a bike. Once you master it, you don't have to think about balance anymore. The knowledge becomes embodied, automatic, and reliable when you need it most.
That's a great way to put it. So by the end of this series, listeners will have these resilient systems operating automatically?
Precisely. We're aiming for what psychologists call automaticity, where these stress-proofing behaviors become as natural as breathing. And we'll get there through consistent, progressive practice throughout our episodes. We'll build the neural pathways that make these responses instinctive rather than forced.
I'm getting excited just thinking about the journey ahead. So, what should listeners expect from our next episode?
Next episode, we'll dive into defining your stress landscape. We'll explore how to identify your unique stress triggers, recognize early warning signs, and understand the patterns in how stress shows up in your life. This self-awareness is the critical first step in building your resilient system. We'll provide practical exercises to help you map your personal stress ecosystem.
That sounds like an essential starting point. Understanding ourselves before we can change ourselves.
Exactly. And remember, this is a journey, not a destination. Each episode builds on the last, creating a comprehensive approach to stress-proofing your life. We're so glad you're joining us on this important journey to building lasting resilience. By the end of this series, you'll have a complete toolkit for navigating whatever life throws your way with confidence and calm.
Can't wait to dive deeper with you next time. This is going to be transformative for so many people.
Absolutely. Until then, remember, stress doesn't have to control you. With the right systems, you can learn to navigate any challenge that comes your way. Next episode, defining your stress landscape. Welcome back. Last time, we introduced the idea of building resilient systems. Now, let's define your personal stress landscape.
That's right, Alex. Before we can build resilience, we really need to understand what we're dealing with. So, what exactly is stress, and how does it show up in our lives?
Great question, Lisa. In simple terms, stress is our body's natural response to any demand or threat. It's a survival mechanism designed to help us face challenges, often called the fight or flight response. When we perceive a threat, our body releases hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, which prepare us to either confront the danger or escape it. This used to be crucial for survival. Think of avoiding a sudden danger.
Right, so it's a built-in alarm system. But in our modern lives, it seems like that alarm is constantly ringing, even when there isn't an immediate physical danger around.
Precisely. What we call stressors today are often more psychological or emotional. They could be anything from a looming deadline at work, a disagreement with a loved one, financial worries, or even just the constant bombardment of information from our phones. Our bodies still react as if we're in physical danger, even though the threat is different.
So, when our stress response is activated frequently, it can become a problem. What are some of the common ways stress impacts us?
The impact is incredibly broad, affecting us physically, mentally, and emotionally. Physically, chronic stress can lead to headaches, muscle tension, fatigue, digestive issues, sleep disturbances, and even a weakened immune system. Over time, it can contribute to more serious health problems like heart disease or diabetes.
That sounds serious. And mentally?
Mentally, stress can manifest as difficulty concentrating, memory problems, irritability, anxiety, and even feelings of overwhelm or hopelessness. It can make us feel constantly on edge, unable to relax, and always one step away from breaking.
And emotionally, I imagine it makes everything harder to cope with.
Absolutely. Emotionally, we might experience mood swings, become more withdrawn, feel easily frustrated, or struggle with our overall sense of well-being. It's like we're operating in a constant state of low-level crisis. This is why understanding your personal stress landscape is so critical. It's the first step towards managing it.
So, the stress landscape is basically our unique pattern of experiencing and reacting to stressors. And to really understand it, we need to do a personal stress audit. You mentioned this briefly last time. What does that involve?
A personal stress audit is like taking an honest inventory of your life to identify exactly what triggers your stress and how you typically respond. We're not looking at this from a place of judgment, but rather from a place of curiosity and observation. It's about gathering data on yourself.
Data on ourselves. I like that framing. It sounds less daunting than thinking about fixing everything at once. So, how do we start this audit?
The best place to begin is by becoming an observer of your own life. For a period, let's say a week or two, I encourage you to consciously pay attention to when you feel stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, or simply uncomfortable. Keep a journal, use a notes app on your phone, or even just mental notes if that's easier.
Okay, so what specific things should we be looking for and recording in this audit?
There are several key areas. First, identify your stressors. What are the specific events, situations, people, or thoughts that consistently cause you to feel stressed? Be as precise as possible. Is it a specific work task, a particular conversation, a recurring worry?
So, if I'm stressed because I'm late for a meeting, is the stressor the lateness itself, or the fear of being reprimanded, or both?
That's a brilliant distinction. It's often a combination, and digging into that detail is the power of the audit. It's not just work is stressful. It's I feel stressed when I'm running behind schedule because I worry about disappointing my colleagues and the potential consequences. The more specific you are, the better you can target your solutions.
Got it. So, identify the specific triggers. What else?
Next, we look at your physical and emotional reactions. When a stressor hits, how does your body and mind respond? Do you get a knot in your stomach? Do your shoulders tense up? Do you feel your heart race? Do you become irritable, sad, or restless? Documenting these physical and emotional cues is vital because they are your body's warning signals. Often, we can learn to recognize these early signs and intervene before the stress escalates.
This is really helpful. I think I often ignore those early physical twinges until the stress has already taken over.
Many people do. Another crucial element is understanding your patterns of behavior in response to stress. When you're stressed, what do you tend to do? Do you withdraw? Do you overeat? Do you lash out? Do you procrastinate? Do you reach for a glass of wine? These are often coping mechanisms, some helpful, some less so. Identifying them is key to understanding if they are serving you well or making things worse.
So, it's about noticing the habits that emerge when we're under pressure.
Exactly. We also want to identify your stress beliefs. These are the underlying thoughts and assumptions you have about stress and your ability to handle it. For example, do you believe you're just a naturally anxious person? Do you think you need to be busy all the time? Do you believe that showing vulnerability is a weakness? These beliefs significantly shape our experience of stress.
That's a deep dive. So, it's not just about external events, but also our internal narratives about them.
Precisely. And finally, make a note of your current coping strategies. What are you already doing, consciously or unconsciously, to manage stress? Are these strategies effective? Are they sustainable? This helps us see what's working and what we might need to adjust or replace.
So, to recap the stress audit, we're identifying the specific triggers, observing our physical and emotional reactions, noting our behavioral patterns, uncovering our underlying beliefs about stress, and evaluating our existing coping mechanisms.
You've got it. And the reason this is so crucial is that understanding these elements creates a personalized roadmap. Without this understanding, we're just trying to fix things randomly. Your stress landscape is unique to you. What sends one person into a tailspin might barely register with another. That's why standardized solutions, while sometimes helpful, often fall short.
It's about building a strategy that works for our individual wiring. So, once we have all this information from our audit, what's the next step?
The next step, which we'll explore in our upcoming episode, is to start building your proactive stress management systems. We'll take the insights from your stress audit and begin to design and implement strategies that build your resilience. We'll focus on practical, actionable steps you can integrate into your life.
I'm really looking forward to that. It feels like having a clear picture of our stress landscape will make those proactive steps so much more effective.
It truly does. By understanding your personal stress triggers and reactions, you gain the power to anticipate and respond more effectively, rather than just reacting to crises. This audit isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing practice of self-awareness that will serve you throughout your life.
So, take some time to really observe yourselves this week. Notice those triggers, those physical cues, those habitual responses. It's the foundational work for a more stress-proof life.
Absolutely. And remember, the goal isn't to eliminate stress entirely. That's not realistic or even desirable, as some stress can be motivating. The goal is to manage it effectively, to build resilience so it doesn't derail your well-being.
A stress-proof life isn't a life without challenges, but a life where you have the tools and awareness to navigate those challenges with greater ease and strength.
Exactly. So, for this week, become a keen observer of your own stress. Record your findings and get ready to use that valuable information to build your resilience.
Thanks for listening.
Welcome back. Last time we covered defining your stress landscape. Now let's tackle conducting your personal stress audit. Part 1, identifying external stressors.
An audit sounds intimidating, Alex. Like we're going to be judged.
Think of it less like an audit and more like a treasure hunt for clues about where your stress comes from. No judgment, just information to take control. Let's cover 4 major categories of external stressors: work, relationships, finances, and environment.
A treasure hunt metaphor makes it more playful. Let's start with work stressors. What should we look for?
Consider workload. Are you consistently taking on too much? Workplace relationships, conflicts with colleagues or managers. Physical work environment factors like noise or poor lighting. And work-life boundaries. Does work bleed into personal time?
That's comprehensive. The work-life boundary is a big one. How do you start identifying these patterns?
Think about the past week. When did you feel most stressed at work? What triggered it? An email? A deadline? An unexpected request? Jot these down. A pattern will emerge.
Okay, I can do that. But what about relationships? How do you audit something so personal?
Relationship stressors often fall into conflict, expectations, and capacity. Conflict is straightforward: arguments or tension with friends, family, or partners. Expectations are about pressure to meet others' standards or feeling you're not meeting theirs. Capacity is about having enough emotional bandwidth for relationships. When you're depleted, even positive ones can drain you.
That makes sense. When I'm overwhelmed, even close friends can feel like a demand. How would someone audit these relationship stressors?
Reflect on recent interactions. Which relationships left you energized versus depleted? Were there conversations that triggered anxiety or frustration? Are there relationship patterns that repeat? I noticed I consistently felt stressed after certain family gatherings, even though I love them. That was a key insight.
That's a concrete example, Alex. It helps to hear. What about finances? That's a common stressor people avoid.
Exactly. And avoidance is part of the problem. Financial stress sneaks up because we avoid looking. Consider income stability. Do you worry about job security? Debt levels. Are you carrying high interest debt, creating constant anxiety? And cash flow anxiety. That feeling of watching every penny, worrying about unexpected expenses, or calculating when the next paycheck arrives.
Those categories are helpful. Cash flow anxiety is something many people experience, but don't name. How to audit finances without it feeling overwhelming.
Start small. Do a financial temperature check. On a scale of 1 to 10, how anxious do you feel about money? Then identify the top 2 specific money worries. Just naming them reduces their power. Often, it's 1 or 2 specific issues you can address step by step.
That's a great frame. And the final category is environmental stressors, right? What does that include?
Environmental stressors are physical factors around you that impact stress. This includes your home environment, clutter, noise, lighting. It includes your commute. That daily journey can set your stress tone. It includes neighborhood safety and access to green spaces. And your digital environment, time on screens, connection quality, even phone notifications.
I never thought about my phone notifications as environmental stressors, but that makes so much sense. The constant pinging adds to my feeling of being overwhelmed.
Exactly. These are often invisible stressors we've grown accustomed to, like background noise. The beauty of the audit is spotting these patterns allows for targeted changes. Maybe redesigning your workspace, adjusting commute times, or establishing tech-free zones.
This is giving me so much to think about. Stress comes from all these directions and we don't realize it. So, the first part of the stress audit is identifying these external stressors across work, relationships, finances, and environment. But what do we do with this information?
That's coming up. For now, focus on awareness. Just noticing these patterns is the most important step. Knowledge is power. The more clearly you see where stress comes from, the more effectively you can address it. Start noticing what external stressors are showing up in your life this week.
Awareness first, then action. Thank you, Alex. It feels much less intimidating.
My pleasure. And remember, this is just part one of our stress audit journey. Next episode, we'll examine internal stressors and how to interpret your audit data.
Thanks for listening.
Welcome back. Last time we covered the first part of your stress audit, focusing on identifying external stressors. Now let's tackle the equally important internal stressors that shape your experience.
That's exciting. So we're moving from what happens to us to what's happening inside us. How do these internal stressors actually work?
Great question, Lisa. Internal stressors are our thought patterns, beliefs, and reactions to situations. These come from within. They're the filter through which we interpret everything around us. Remember the mind-body connection from episode 2? Our thoughts directly trigger physical stress responses.
So it's not just what happens, but how we perceive and interpret it.
Exactly. Our interpretation of events often creates more stress than the events themselves. Let's explore some common internal stressors. First, thought patterns. Many of us fall into cognitive traps that amplify stress. These include black and white thinking, seeing things as all good or all bad. For example, if I don't get this promotion, I'm a complete failure.
That sounds familiar. I catch myself doing that when things don't go perfectly.
You're not alone. Another common pattern is catastrophizing, expecting the worst possible outcome. Like thinking, if I make one mistake in this presentation, I'll get fired. Then there's personalization, blaming yourself for things outside your control. These thought patterns create unnecessary stress by distorting reality.
So recognizing these patterns is the first step to changing them?
Precisely. The next big internal stressor is perfectionism. While aiming for high standards can be motivating, perfectionism often backfires. It creates unrealistic expectations and a constant sense of falling short. Perfectionists typically experience higher anxiety, lower self-esteem, and greater stress because they can never truly achieve their impossible standards.
That makes sense. I know people who seem to have this perfect image in their heads and beat themselves up when reality doesn't match it.
The irony is that perfectionism often prevents growth. When you're afraid of making mistakes, you avoid challenges that would help you develop. Healthy progress involves accepting that mistakes are part of learning and improvement. It's about striving for excellence rather than perfection.
So shifting from perfect to progress could reduce stress?
Absolutely. Now let's talk about limiting beliefs. These are the unconscious assumptions we hold about ourselves, others, and the world that restrict us. They often start in childhood and become deeply ingrained. Common limiting beliefs include, I'm not good enough, I can't handle stress, or people will reject me if they see my true self.
How do we identify these beliefs? They often feel like facts rather than beliefs.
That's a key insight. These beliefs operate in the background of our minds. To uncover them, listen to your self-talk and automatic reactions. Notice when you say, I can't or I'm not. These phrases often point to underlying limiting beliefs. Ask yourself, what assumption am I making here? Or what would I believe if I didn't feel stressed?
And once identified, how do we change these deeply held beliefs?
We'll explore that when we discuss reframing stress. For now, just awareness begins the process. The final internal stressor we'll cover today is unhealthy coping mechanisms. When stressed, many of us develop habits that provide temporary relief but create more stress long term. These include procrastination, overeating, excessive screen time, substance use, or avoidance behaviors.
Those definitely feel like they help in the moment, but often make things worse later.
Exactly. They're like putting a bandage on a wound that needs stitches. They numb the discomfort temporarily, but don't address the root cause. The danger is that these patterns can become automatic responses to stress, making it harder to develop healthier alternatives. The more you rely on them, the stronger the neural pathways become.
So, our internal stressors create this cycle where thoughts lead to behaviors that reinforce the beliefs?
You've got it. That's why auditing these internal stressors is so crucial. Together, external stressors and internal responses create our overall stress experience. By examining both, we understand the full picture of what's keeping us stressed.
This makes so much sense. So, our audit is helping us see not just what stresses us out, but how we're amplifying that stress internally.
Exactly. Remember, awareness is power. Once we can see these patterns, we begin to have choices we didn't realize we had. In our next episode, we'll move from understanding stress to proactive stress management strategies that help you respond differently to these stressors.
I'm looking forward to that. It feels like we're building a toolkit piece by piece.
We are, and that's the beauty of this approach. Small, consistent changes create significant transformation. Until next time, keep observing those internal stressors with curiosity rather than judgment. Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Last time, we explored completing your personal stress audit, identifying your specific stress triggers and responses. Now let's tackle the power of proactive stress management.
Right, Alex. After identifying our stress patterns, the next logical step is learning how to manage them proactively instead of just reacting when stress hits us. What's the core difference between those two approaches?
Great question, Lisa. Reactive stress management is like putting out fires after they've already started. You wait until you're overwhelmed, anxious, or exhausted, then try to calm down. Proactive management is about preventing those fires from ever igniting. It's about building systems and habits that make you resilient before stress even arrives.
So, instead of waiting to feel stressed and then trying to cope, we're actively working to prevent stress from building up in the first place? That sounds much more empowering.
Exactly. And research shows that proactive approaches are far more effective. When you're already stressed, the part of your brain responsible for decision making and self control becomes less functional. The result? When you're most stressed, you're least equipped to handle it effectively.
That's a crucial point. It's like trying to make important decisions when you're exhausted. Your judgment is compromised when you need it most. How do we shift from reactive to proactive stress management?
Let's start with mindset. The first step is recognizing that you have control over managing your stress. Many people feel like stress just happens to them, but you can actively design your environment, routines, and responses to minimize stress. This is where your stress audit becomes invaluable.
Right. From our previous discussions, we know everyone's stress landscape is unique. What works for one person might not work for another. How do we create personalized proactive strategies?
I'm glad you asked. Proactive stress management has three key components: prevention, preparation, and practice. Prevention means designing your life to minimize stress triggers. Preparation means building resources and skills to handle stress when it inevitably occurs. Practice means consistently rehearsing these strategies until they become automatic.
Prevention, preparation, and practice. That's a memorable framework. Can you give us some concrete examples of prevention strategies?
Absolutely. Prevention starts with your environment. Think about your physical workspace, digital interactions, and social boundaries. For your workspace, this could mean organizing your desk to minimize distractions, ensuring proper lighting, or creating a quiet zone when you need to focus.
That makes sense. And digital prevention might mean managing notifications, creating folders for emails, or scheduling specific times to check social media rather than constantly being reactive.
Precisely. Digital environments are huge sources of modern stress. Notification fatigue is real. By controlling when and how you engage with technology, you prevent constant low-level stress from creeping in.
What about social boundaries? That seems trickier because relationships are so important.
Social boundaries are crucial but often overlooked. This means learning to say no without guilt, protecting your time for rest and recovery, and communicating your needs clearly to others. Remember, every yes to something that drains you is a no to your own well-being.
I think many of us struggle with that balance. We want to be helpful, but end up overcommitting. What about preparation strategies?
Preparation is about building your stress resilience toolkit. This includes developing emotional regulation skills, physical self-care routines, and cognitive flexibility. Think of it like maintaining a well-stocked toolbox. When a stressful situation arises, you have the right tools ready to use immediately.
So it's not about eliminating stress entirely, but building our capacity to handle it more effectively?
Exactly. Some stress is inevitable and even beneficial in small doses. The goal isn't to create a stress-free life, but to become stress-proof, able to handle stress without it derailing you. This is where practice comes in.
How do we practice these proactive strategies effectively?
Consistency is key. Set aside time daily or weekly to practice your stress management techniques, even when you're not feeling particularly stressed. This could be as simple as taking 5 deep breaths, practicing a brief meditation, or reviewing your boundaries for the upcoming week.
It's like building muscle at the gym. You don't wait until you're injured to start strengthening your body. You train consistently so you're prepared when challenges arise.
Perfect analogy. And just like physical training, you want to progressively challenge yourself. Start with small, manageable stress management practices and gradually build up to more complex ones. The key is making them habits that become automatic.
How do we know which proactive strategies will work best for us individually?
This is where your stress audit becomes your roadmap. Remember all those triggers and responses you identified? Those are your personal stress indicators. Tailor your prevention, preparation, and practice strategies specifically to address your unique stress landscape.
So it's about being both systematic and personalized, using general frameworks but adapting them to our specific needs.
That's the essence of effective stress management. The science gives US proven approaches, but personalization makes them work in real life. And remember, this is an ongoing process, not a one-time fix. Your stress landscape changes, and so should your management strategies.
It sounds like we're moving from being victims of stress to becoming architects of our own resilience. What's a practical first step someone could take this week?
I'd suggest starting with one small prevention strategy. Maybe it's designating no phone zones in your home, or setting a specific time to check emails rather than constantly doing so, or practicing saying no to one request that would overextend you. Pick just one, implement it consistently, and notice how it affects your stress levels.
That sounds manageable. Small, consistent changes rather than overwhelming overhauls.
Exactly. And remember, proactive stress management isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Every small step you take builds your resilience over time. Next episode, building your daily resilience toolkit.
I can't wait to learn more practical tools. Thanks for sharing these insights on proactive stress management, Alex.
My pleasure, Lisa. Remember, the power to manage stress proactively is in your hands. Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Last time, we dove deep into conducting your personal stress audit. Now, let's build on that knowledge. Today, we're building your daily resilience toolkit.
That sounds so practical, Alex. So, a resilience toolkit, is this like having a toolbox for when life gets tough?
Exactly, Lisa. Think of it like preparing for a camping trip. You pack essentials like a first aid kit and a multi-tool so you can handle what might happen. Your resilience toolkit is similar, but for your daily life. It's a collection of proactive strategies and techniques ready to deploy before or during stressful moments.
Okay, I get the analogy. So, instead of waiting for a crisis, we're proactively gathering resources to manage stress as it comes up?
Precisely. It's about shifting from a reactive approach to a proactive one. Proactive stress management is the foundation of resilience. It's about building your capacity to handle challenges, not just survive them. Your daily resilience toolkit is your direct pathway to doing just that.
So, what kinds of things go into this toolkit? Are we talking about physical items or more like mental exercises?
It's a mix, and it's highly personal. What worked for one person might not resonate as much with another. But the core idea is to have a set of reliable strategies you can access quickly and easily. These are the go-to actions that help you regulate your nervous system, shift your perspective, and maintain your equilibrium.
Regulation, perspective, equilibrium. Those are important concepts. How do we go about building this toolkit then?
It starts with understanding our stress audit. Remember identifying your stressors. If tight deadlines trigger your stress, your toolkit might include strategies for breaking down tasks, learning to say no, or quick mindfulness exercises. If social pressure is a big one, your toolkit might focus on assertiveness techniques or affirmations.
So, it's tailored to our individual stress landscape. That makes a lot of sense. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Absolutely not. Now, the toolkit isn't just about what you do when you feel stressed. It's also about building habits that strengthen your overall resilience over time, like a healthy diet and regular exercise build physical health. These are the maintenance items in your toolkit.
So, we need things for immediate relief and things for long-term strength?
You've got it. For immediate relief, imagine you're facing sudden overwhelm. Your toolkit might contain a quick breathing exercise that takes less than a minute or a specific phrase you repeat to yourself. These are your instant reset buttons, designed to interrupt the stress response in the moment.
Like a mini pause button for your brain?
Precisely. And these instant tools are incredibly powerful because stress often escalates quickly. Having something you can reliably use to de-escalate is a game changer. We'll be exploring some of these specific techniques soon, like foundational breathing exercises.
I'm already feeling more prepared. Tell me more about the long-term strength builders.
The long-term builders are about cultivating a lifestyle that naturally supports your resilience. This can include things like ensuring you get enough quality sleep, cultivating strong social connections, spending time in nature, or engaging in activities that bring you joy and a sense of purpose. These fundamentally strengthen your ability to handle adversity. They're like reinforcing the walls of your house so it can withstand storm.
That's a great way to put it. So, it's about building our capacity to bounce back, rather than just recovering from a setback.
Exactly. Building resilience is about becoming more adaptable, more flexible, and more robust in the face of adversity. And your daily toolkit is the active mechanism for achieving that. It's an ongoing practice.
So, to recap for our listeners, a resilience toolkit is a collection of proactive strategies and techniques we build to manage stress and enhance our overall capacity to handle life's challenges. It includes immediate relief tools for moments of overwhelm and long-term strength builders that create a more resilient foundation.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. Now, you might be wondering, how do I actually start choosing these items for my toolkit? The first step is revisiting your stress audit. What are your most frequent or impactful stressors? Based on those, what kinds of strategies might help?
And we don't have to build the whole toolkit overnight, right? It's a process.
Definitely not. Think of it as a work in progress. Start with one or two simple, accessible tools. Try out a quick breathing exercise. Explore a short mindfulness practice. Even small, consistent actions compound over time to build significant resilience.
So, it's about making these tools a regular part of our day, not just pulling them out when we're already struggling.
Precisely. The more we practice these resilience building activities when we're feeling calm, the more readily accessible they'll be when we're feeling stressed. It's like practicing a musical instrument. The more you practice in quiet moments, the better you'll play when the audience is watching.
That's a fantastic analogy. It makes the idea of consistently practicing less of a chore and more of an investment in our well being.
And importantly, this toolkit isn't meant to be a rigid set of rules. It's a flexible system. Some days, you might need more of one type of tool, and other days, a different one. The goal is to have a variety of options so you can choose what's most effective for your specific situation at that moment.
It's empowering to think about having a range of choices. Instead of feeling trapped by stress, we can choose our response.
That's the ultimate aim. And as we move forward in this series, we'll be diving into many of the specific tools you can add to your own resilience toolkit. We've touched on the importance of breathing, and that's just the beginning. We'll explore how nature can be a powerful part of your resilience strategy, the profound connection between sleep and stress management, and how your social circle is a vital resource.
So, in essence, building your daily resilience toolkit is about becoming your own first responder for stress. It's about being prepared, having options, and consistently practicing strategies that strengthen your ability to navigate life's ups and downs. Remember, a well-stocked toolkit makes any challenge more manageable.
Well said, Lisa. This episode has laid the groundwork for the practical strategies we'll explore next. We've established the importance of having a proactive collection of tools ready to go. Next time, we'll begin exploring some of those powerful techniques in detail. Next episode, Mastering the Art of Recovery Rituals. Welcome back. Last time we covered building your daily resilience toolkit. Now let's focus on mastering the art of recovery rituals.
Alex, it's so important that we're talking about recovery rituals. Even with all our proactive stress management, we really need intentional downtime to recover properly.
Exactly, Lisa. If resilience is the armor against stress, recovery rituals are the maintenance that keeps that armor strong. Without it, our resilience eventually breaks down.
That's a brilliant analogy. It's like how athletes need rest and nutrition, not just hard training, to perform at their best. We should treat our own lives the same way.
Absolutely. The science tells us our nervous system needs periods of activation followed by rest to stay balanced. When we're constantly stressed without recovery, we stay in that fight or flight state, leading to burnout.
So, recovery rituals aren't just optional extras, they're essential for health. But what exactly makes something a recovery ritual? Does it need to be complex?
The beauty is in its simplicity. It's not about the complexity, but the intention. Doing something purposefully to help your nervous system reset is what counts.
Can you share some examples? Listeners would love concrete ideas.
Certainly, we can think of them as physical, mental, and social. Physical might be stretching, a warm bath, or just changing into comfy clothes. Mental could be journaling, meditation, or reading something light. Social might involve connecting with someone you care about or enjoying a quiet cup of tea without distractions.
Those cover different aspects of our well being: body, mind, and emotions.
Precisely. And the most effective rituals often combine these. Imagine a walk in nature, listening to calming music while chatting with a friend.
That makes sense. How do we figure out which rituals work best for us? What if something doesn't feel restorative?
Pay close attention to how you feel before and after. A good ritual should leave you feeling more relaxed and refreshed. If it drains you, it's likely not the right choice for you.
So, self awareness and listening to our bodies are key.
Exactly. And remember, recovery rituals should be enjoyable, not another chore. If you're forcing yourself, it won't be effective.
It's about creating space for true restoration, not adding pressure.
Right you are. Now, when is the best time to incorporate these into our days?
After stressful moments, a difficult meeting, a tough conversation, or a long day is when I feel the need most. But regular, smaller pauses throughout the day seem beneficial too.
You've hit on something important, micro-recovery moments. These are brief pauses, maybe 30 seconds to 2 minutes, that prevent stress from building up. Think of taking 3 deep breaths, looking out the window, or a quick desk stretch.
Those small moments really add up, don't they? Like compound interest for our nervous system.
That's a perfect way to put it. Small, consistent efforts make a big difference. But we also need those longer recovery periods to truly disconnect and recharge.
So, the ideal approach combines these micro moments with longer, dedicated recovery rituals.
Precisely. And consistency trumps duration. Even 5 minutes of intentional recovery is valuable. The goal is to make them as automatic as brushing your teeth.
That's a fantastic habit forming perspective. If it becomes non negotiable, it becomes second nature.
Now, how do we get started fitting them into busy lives?
Start small. Identify 1 or 2 moments in your day where a reset would be helpful and pick a simple ritual. Notice how you feel after a week, then adjust.
Excellent advice. And be patient. Building new habits takes time. Research suggests around 66 days for something to become automatic. Don't get discouraged if it doesn't feel natural immediately.
That's a longer timeline than many people realize. It's important not to lose motivation.
Absolutely. Consider creating a recovery toolkit with various rituals to choose from. Some days you might need physical movement, other days quiet, and others connection.
Having variety helps us respond effectively to different types of stress.
Exactly. And remember, recovery rituals aren't just about managing stress. They enhance your quality of life. They allow you to face challenges from a place of strength, not depletion.
That's a powerful reframe. Recovery is an active investment in our well being.
It truly is. As we continue our stress-proofing journey, we'll explore specific techniques like breathing exercises, connecting with nature, and optimizing sleep.
I'm looking forward to those. For now, listeners have a great starting point for understanding why recovery rituals matter and how to begin.
Remember, resilience isn't about avoiding stress. It's about recovering effectively. Recovery rituals are your secret weapon to bounce back stronger.
Next episode, Foundational Breathing, your instant reset button.
Welcome back. Last time we covered recovery rituals. Now let's tackle foundational breathing techniques.
Breathing? Isn't that something we just do automatically? How can it be a stress management tool?
That's exactly what most people think. But Lisa, breathing is like the remote control for your nervous system. What if I told you that by simply changing how you breathe, you could instantly shift from stress to calm? Today, we're going to explore foundational breathing techniques that become your instant reset button.
That sounds almost too simple. How does breathing actually affect stress?
Great question. When we're stressed, our sympathetic nervous system goes into fight or flight mode. Our breath becomes shallow and rapid, signaling to our body that we're in danger. But here's the beautiful part. We can send the opposite signal through our breath. Deep, slow breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our body's natural relaxation response.
So it's like giving your body a direct message to calm down?
Exactly. Think of it like this. Your breath is the bridge between your conscious mind and your automatic bodily functions. When you consciously change your breathing pattern, you're essentially hacking your stress response. And the best part? You have your breath with you always, making it the most accessible stress management tool ever.
That's amazing. But how do we actually do this? Can you walk us through some techniques?
Absolutely. Let's start with the most fundamental technique, diaphragmatic breathing, also known as belly breathing. This is the foundation upon which all other breathing techniques are built. Most adults breathe from their chest, but we're born breathing from our diaphragm.
I think I'm one of those chest breathers. How do I know if I'm breathing correctly?
Lie on your back and place one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. When you breathe in properly, your belly hand should rise while your chest hand stays relatively still. When you breathe out, your belly should fall. Try it now, Lisa.
Wow, I can feel the difference. My belly is actually moving when I breathe deeply.
That's it. Now, let's formalize this technique. First, find a comfortable position, either sitting or lying down. Place one hand on your belly. Inhale slowly through your nose, allowing your belly to expand like a balloon. Don't force it. Let it happen naturally. Then exhale slowly through your mouth, feeling your belly gently contract.
It's interesting how something so simple can feel so different when done correctly.
It is. And research shows that just a few minutes of diaphragmatic breathing can lower your heart rate, reduce blood pressure, and decrease stress hormones like cortisol. Remember our discussion about the stress response from earlier episodes? This technique directly counteracts that response at a physiological level.
So, this isn't just something that feels good, there's actual science behind it?
Absolutely. The science is fascinating. When you breathe deeply, you stimulate a key nerve that runs from your brain down through your neck and into your abdomen. This nerve is the main component of your body's natural relaxation system. When you activate it, you send a message throughout your body that says, it's safe to relax now.
That's powerful. And you can do this anywhere, anytime?
Anywhere, anytime. That's what makes breathing so extraordinary. Whether you're in a stressful meeting, stuck in traffic, or feeling overwhelmed at home, you can always access your breath. The key is making it a practiced habit so that when stress hits, you can automatically shift into this calming pattern.
I love that. It's like having a built-in stress management system that's always with you.
Exactly. Now let's build on this foundation with another technique called box breathing. This is particularly effective for immediate stress reduction. Picture a box with four equal sides. Inhale for a set count, hold for the same count, exhale for that count, and hold for that count before starting the cycle again.
A set count in, hold, out, hold. Got it. Does this have any special benefits?
Box breathing is used by everyone from military professionals to healthcare workers in high-stress situations. The steady rhythm helps regulate your body's systems and brings your focus to the present moment. When you're stressed, your mind often races to worst-case scenarios. Box breathing gently pulls you back to the here and now.
That makes perfect sense. I can see how this would be helpful in those moments when your mind is spiraling.
And here's the beautiful part. You don't need special equipment or to find a quiet space. You can do box breathing while walking down the street, sitting in a waiting room, or even during a difficult conversation. Just bring your attention to your breath and count out those equal sides of the box.
So these techniques are both preventative and reactive?
Precisely. That's the magic of breath work. You can practice daily to build your stress resilience, and you can use it in the moment when stress hits. Remember our earlier episodes about building systems? Breathing techniques fit perfectly into that framework. There's something you can integrate seamlessly into your daily routine.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces connect. From understanding our stress response to building recovery rituals, and now to these breathing techniques.
You're absolutely right. And here's something I want you to remember. Your breath is always available as an anchor. When life feels overwhelming, you can always return to your breath. No matter what's happening around you, no matter how chaotic things get, you have this one thing you can control that will bring you back to center.
That's such a comforting thought. It gives you a sense of agency even in stressful situations.
Exactly. And the more you practice these techniques, the more automatic they become. It's like building a mental muscle. At first, you might need to consciously remind yourself to breathe deeply but with time, it becomes your natural response to stress.
So, for someone just starting out, what's the best way to incorporate these techniques?
Start small. I recommend practicing diaphragmatic breathing for just 2 minutes each morning. That's it. Don't worry about perfection. Just bring your awareness to your breath and allow your belly to expand. Over time, you can increase the duration and add in box breathing when you notice stress rising throughout your day.
2 minutes a day sounds totally doable, and it builds from there naturally.
That's the spirit. Remember, consistency trumps intensity. A brief daily practice is far more effective than occasional long sessions. And when you do these techniques, notice how you feel before and after. That awareness will motivate you to continue.
I'm excited to try this. It seems like such a simple yet powerful tool to add to our stress proofing toolkit.
It truly is, Lisa. Next episode, we'll explore more advanced breathing methods specifically designed for calm and focus. Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Last time, we dove into the fundamental power of breathing as an instant reset button. Today, we're building on that foundation to explore how focused breathing techniques cultivate calm and sharpen focus.
That's right, Alex. Episode 8 was about that immediate, in the moment rescue breath. Now, we're using breath work not just for de escalation, but as a proactive tool to shape our mental state. Think of it as upgrading from a fire extinguisher to building a fire resistant home.
I love that analogy. So, Lisa, how do we go beyond just taking a deep breath when overwhelmed? What are these more advanced techniques?
Great question. We'll reemphasize a key principle: the power of conscious control over our exhalation. Remember how exhaling longer than inhaling signals safety to our nervous system? We can leverage that further. One technique is called four-square breathing.
Four-square breathing. I'm picturing a square. How does that translate to breath?
Exactly. You're creating a rhythm. Inhale for a count of 4, hold your breath for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, and then pause for a count of 4 before you inhale again. So, it's 4 equal counts for each phase. In, hold, out, pause.
So I count 1, 2, 3 for on the inhale. Then hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Then exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. And then pause 1, 2, 3, 4. And repeat.
Precisely. This structured rhythm is effective because it gently occupies the mind while systematically calming the nervous system. The holds allow your body to absorb oxygen and fully release carbon dioxide. This regulates your heart rate and blood pressure, bringing you to a more centered state.
And how does this help with focus specifically?
When your nervous system is on high alert, your attention scatters. You're easily distracted. By engaging in four-square breathing, you're pulling yourself out of that fight or flight response. As your body calms, your mind follows. This creates the mental space needed to concentrate. It's like clearing clutter from your desk before detailed work. So, to recap, four-square breathing involves inhaling for a count of 4, holding for a count of 4, exhaling for a count of 4, and pausing for a count of 4. This consistent rhythm calms the nervous system and prepares your mind for better concentration.
That sounds very accessible. What's another technique?
Another powerful technique for sustained calm and focus is diaphragmatic breathing, or belly breathing, with a prolonged exhale, what we might call the calming breath technique. Many of us breathe shallowly from our chest when stressed. This indicates the stress response.
Right, that's the tight, constricted feeling in the chest.
Exactly. Diaphragmatic breathing encourages you to breathe deep into your belly. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. As you inhale through your nose, try to make your belly expand, pushing your hand outwards, while your chest hand stays relatively still. This means your diaphragm is doing the work.
So, the belly rises more than the chest.
That's the goal. This deeper breath ensures you're getting more oxygen and stimulates the vagus nerve, which is crucial for our parasympathetic nervous system, our body's rest and digest mode. Now, to amplify the calming effect, we extend the exhale. Aim to exhale for twice as long as you inhale. So, if you inhale for a count of 3, you'll exhale for a count of 6.
Inhale for 3, exhale for 6. That's a significant extension of the exhale.
It is, and that's where the magic happens for sustained calm. This longer exhale signals to your body that you are relaxed and in control. It actively counters the adrenaline rush of stress. Practicing this regularly helps to lower your baseline stress levels. When your baseline is calmer, your ability to focus naturally improves because your mind isn't constantly occupied by background anxiety. So, remember the calming breath. Inhale deeply into your belly, making your abdomen expand, and then exhale slowly, making your exhale about twice as long as your inhale. This promotes deeper relaxation and enhances your ability to stay focused.
So we have Foursquare breathing for structured calm and focus, and the belly breathing with a long exhale for sustained calm and improved concentration. These sound like practical tools. How do we integrate them into our daily lives, considering our stress audit?
Excellent point, Alex. The stress audit is our roadmap. When you identified specific times or situations that trigger stress, that's precisely when you can schedule these breathing exercises. Did you find meetings often leave you feeling frazzled? Try doing a minute of Foursquare breathing right before you log into or enter that meeting room.
So, if I know a difficult phone call is coming up, I can use this breathing to prepare rather than reacting to the stress as it happens.
Absolutely. Or perhaps your commute is a major stressor. Instead of just enduring it, use your diaphragmatic breathing with a long exhale technique while you're on the train or in your car, if it's safe. This transforms that potentially draining time into an opportunity for self-regulation. It's about being proactive.
It's about reclaiming that time and energy. I also remember building resilience is about creating consistent habits. How often should we be practicing these techniques?
For significant impact, consistency is key, but it doesn't require hours. Think of it like building a muscle. Short, frequent bouts are more effective than one long, infrequent session. Aim to practice these breathing techniques for just 1 to 2 minutes, several times a day. Perhaps first thing in the morning, before a challenging task, during a mid-afternoon slump, or before bed.
So, not just when you need it, but also when you don't feel stressed to build up the resilience reserve.
Exactly. Regularly practicing these techniques rewires your nervous system over time. It makes it easier to access that calm state when you do face a bigger challenge. It's akin to practicing a musical instrument. The more you practice scales, the more fluid, complex pieces become. So make it a habit and you'll find yourself naturally more resilient and more focused. To quickly summarize, we explored Foursquare breathing for structured calm and focus, and diaphragmatic breathing with a prolonged exhale for sustained calm. Both techniques are powerful tools for managing stress and enhancing concentration. Remember to integrate them strategically based on your personal stress audit findings, practicing for just a few minutes at a time, multiple times a day, to build lasting resilience.
This has been incredibly insightful, Lisa. Moving from just reacting to stress to proactively cultivating calm and focus through breath feels like a significant step.
It truly is, Alex. This tool is always with us. We just need to remember to use it. In our next episode, we'll explore the restorative power of nature.
Nature's nurturing embrace. I'm looking forward to that. Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Last time, we explored foundational breathing techniques for instant calm.
Absolutely, Alex. Those breathing exercises are such powerful, immediate tools for managing stress. It's amazing how something so simple can make such a difference.
It truly is. And today we're going to talk about another incredibly potent, yet often overlooked tool for our resilience toolkit, nature. We're calling this episode Nature's Nurturing Embrace.
Nature. I love that. It feels so fundamental, doesn't it? Like we're programmed to connect with it.
You're spot on, Lisa. There's a deeply ingrained human need to connect with the natural world, often referred to as biophilia. Think about it. How many of us feel a sense of peace just by being in a park, by a lake, or even just looking at a tree?
Oh, me every time. Even just a short walk in a green space can completely shift my mood. It's like a weight lifts.
Exactly. And this isn't just a feeling, it's backed by science. Studies have shown that spending time in nature, even for short periods, can significantly reduce stress hormones like cortisol. It lowers blood pressure, slows your heart rate, and even boosts your immune system.
Wow, so it's not just pleasant, it's literally good for our physical and mental health. How does that connection work, though? What's happening in our bodies and minds?
One of the key ideas is something called soft fascination. Unlike the directed attention we use for, say, staring at a computer screen or navigating a busy street, nature offers a gentler kind of attention. It captures our awareness without demanding effort. Think of the gentle rustling of leaves or the steady flow of water.
So our brains get a break from that intense, focused effort, which is really draining. It's like giving our mental muscles a rest.
Precisely. This soft fascination allows our directed attention to recover. This is crucial because our modern lives are full of hard fascination, constant notifications, deadlines, demanding tasks, which depletes our mental resources. Nature provides a restorative contrast.
That makes so much sense. I often feel completely mentally refreshed after a walk in the woods. It's not just about calming down, but actually regaining mental energy.
Absolutely. And remember our discussion on recovery rituals in episode 7? Connecting with nature is a fantastic recovery ritual. It helps us shed the stresses of the day and recharge our emotional and cognitive batteries. It's about actively seeking out experiences that replenish you.
So, it's not just about relaxing, but about actively engaging in self-care through natural elements. What are some practical ways we can incorporate more nature into our lives, especially if we live in a busy city with limited green spaces?
That's a great question, Lisa, because access to vast wilderness isn't always feasible. The good news is even small doses can be effective. Start with your immediate environment. Can you bring plants into your home or office? Even a small desk plant can have a positive effect.
Oh, I have a few plants at my desk, and I do find them incredibly grounding. It's a little bit of green right there.
Exactly. Then look for opportunities in your urban landscape. Seek out local parks, even small ones. Make a point of walking through a tree-lined street instead of a busy road on your commute. Notice the sky, the clouds, the birds.
I've started doing that, and it's amazing how much beauty I'd been missing by just rushing from point A to point B. It forces you to slow down and be present.
It really does. Another powerful way is through sensory engagement. Listen to nature sounds. There are many apps and websites that offer recordings of rain, forests, or ocean waves. If you can't get out, bring the sounds in.
I love that idea. Sometimes I play ambient nature sounds when I'm working, especially if I'm feeling overwhelmed. It creates a more calming atmosphere.
And what about water? The sound and sight of water, be it a fountain, a river, or even a simple aquarium, has a profoundly calming effect. If you have a water feature in a public space near you, make it a destination for a brief respite.
I've always found being near the ocean incredibly centering. It's powerful.
It's the combination of sensory input, the sound, the smell, the vastness. Even looking at images or videos of nature can have some positive effects, though it's not as potent as direct experience. It's a placeholder, a reminder of the restorative power that awaits.
So, direct experience is best, but even visual or auditory cues can offer a little boost. What about intentional nature immersion like hiking or camping?
Those are fantastic, of course. If you have the opportunity, plan a weekend hike, a camping trip, or even just a picnic in a scenic natural spot. The key is to be present and engage your senses. Feel the bark of a tree, smell the pine needles, listen to the birdsong.
It sounds like we're really encouraging people to actively seek out these moments rather than waiting for them to happen by chance. It's a deliberate part of building resilience.
Precisely. And it ties back to the stress audit we discussed in episodes 3 and 4. Identify where your stress triggers are, and then deliberately schedule nature-based recovery activities. It's about being proactive. If you know a stressful week is coming, plan a walk in the park for the weekend before it hits.
That's a brilliant way to frame it. Proactive resilience building. So, to recap for our listeners, nature isn't just a nice to have, it's a vital component of stress reduction and resilience. It activates soft fascination, allowing our brains to rest and recover from the demands of modern life.
Exactly. And we can harness its power through simple actions like bringing plants into our space, seeking out urban green areas, listening to nature sounds, or even just noticing the natural elements around us. The more we intentionally connect with nature, the more we can draw on its restorative, nurturing embrace. Remember, even small moments of connection can make a big difference to your well-being.
It's like gifting your nervous system a moment of peace and rejuvenation.
Well said, Lisa. You've really captured the essence of it. So, make nature a part of your stress-proofing journey. Next episode, we'll delve into the fascinating world of sleep and its critical role in resilience. Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Today, we're diving deep into sleep.
That's right, Alex. For anyone trying to become more resilient, thinking about sleep isn't just a good idea. It's essential. It's not just downtime, it's crucial active recovery time for our brains and bodies.
Exactly. And when we talk about the neuroscience of sleep and resilience, we're really talking about how sleep directly impacts our stress response system and our ability to bounce back from challenges. Think of sleep as the ultimate reset button. Without enough quality sleep, that button just doesn't work properly.
So, Alex, can you break down for us what's actually happening in our brains and bodies when we sleep that makes it so vital for combating stress?
Absolutely. When we sleep, our brains are incredibly busy, even though we're not actively aware of it. One of the most critical functions during sleep is memory consolidation. This is where your brain processes all the information and experiences from the day, deciding what to keep and what to discard, and basically filing it away. This helps us learn and remember better.
I've heard of that. So, if we're not sleeping well, maybe we're not remembering things as clearly or learning as effectively.
Precisely. And this impacts our resilience because a clear, well-rested mind is much better equipped to handle complex problems and adapt to changing situations. When sleep is insufficient, our cognitive functions suffer. This includes attention, decision-making, and problem-solving, all key components of resilience.
That makes perfect sense. A foggy brain can't possibly navigate stressful situations effectively. What else is happening at a neural level?
Well, sleep plays a massive role in regulating our emotional responses. During sleep, especially in the REM or rapid eye movement stage, our brain processes emotional experiences. It's like a form of overnight therapy. The amygdala, which is the emotional center of our brain, becomes less reactive after sufficient sleep.
So, if we're sleep deprived, our amygdala might be overactive, meaning we're more prone to emotional outbursts or feeling overwhelmed by minor stressors.
You've hit the nail on the head. When you're not getting enough sleep, your emotional regulation is significantly compromised. Little things that you might normally brush off can feel like huge catastrophes. Your threshold for frustration and anxiety lowers dramatically.
That really highlights why it's so important for building resilience. It's not just about surviving stress, it's about having a stable emotional foundation to begin with. What about the physical side of things? How does sleep affect our stress hormones?
This is a huge area. One of the main hormones affected is cortisol, often called the stress hormone. During the day, cortisol levels naturally rise and fall. However, chronic sleep deprivation disrupts this pattern. It can lead to persistently elevated cortisol levels, which is detrimental to our health and our resilience. High cortisol keeps us in a state of constant alert, which is exhausting and makes it harder to recover from stress.
So, poor sleep is like keeping the gas pedal on our stress response system permanently pressed down?
That's a great analogy, Lisa. And it's not just cortisol. Sleep also influences other hormones involved in stress and recovery, like growth hormone and testosterone, which are important for tissue repair and overall well-being. When you sleep, your body works on repairing itself. Without adequate sleep, this repair process is hindered.
That brings us to the idea of recovery rituals that we touched on in earlier episodes. Sleep is clearly our body's most powerful recovery ritual. Can you give us a clearer picture of what happens during the different stages of sleep and why they matter for resilience? We often hear about REM sleep, but what about the other stages?
Great question. Sleep isn't just one uniform state. We cycle through different stages throughout the night. Broadly, we divide sleep into non-REM sleep and REM sleep. Non-REM sleep is further divided into stages. Stage 1 is that light sleep as you're drifting off. Stage 2 is a deeper sleep where your heart rate and body temperature decrease.
Okay, so that's like the initial winding down. What's next?
Then we have stages 3 and 4, often called deep sleep or slow wave sleep. This is physically the most restorative phase. Your body repairs tissues, builds bone and muscle, and strengthens your immune system. It's crucial for physical recovery, which is directly linked to your ability to handle physical and mental stress.
So, deep sleep is when our body is literally rebuilding itself. That sounds incredibly important for resilience. And then we move into REM sleep?
Exactly. After a period of deep sleep, we cycle into REM sleep. This is where brain activity increases, resembling wakefulness. We experience vivid dreams during REM sleep. As we mentioned, it's vital for emotional processing, learning, and memory. Adequate REM sleep helps us process difficult emotions and integrate new information, making us more mentally agile and emotionally balanced.
It sounds like a beautifully orchestrated process. And these cycles repeat multiple times during the night. So, if we wake up frequently or our sleep is interrupted, we're not completing these essential cycles effectively?
That's exactly right. Interrupted sleep fragments these cycles, meaning we don't get enough of the deep sleep and REM sleep that are critical for our resilience. Think of it like trying to build something complex, but constantly stopping and starting the process. The end result is likely to be unstable and incomplete.
I can see how that would leave us feeling drained and less capable of facing stressors. So, what does this neuroscience tell us about how much sleep we actually need? It often feels like a magic number.
The general consensus among sleep scientists is that most adults need between 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night. However, the exact amount can vary from person to person. The key is not just the quantity, but the quality of that sleep. Are you falling asleep relatively easily? Are you staying asleep? Are you waking up feeling refreshed? These are indicators of good sleep quality.
That's a really important distinction, quantity versus quality. So, even if someone is in bed for 8 hours, if that sleep is restless or broken, it's not going to provide the same resilience benefits.
Precisely. And this is where the concept of sleep hygiene comes into play, which we'll delve into more deeply in our next episode. But understanding the neuroscience behind sleep, how it consolidates memories, regulates emotions, and repairs our bodies, really emphasizes why prioritizing sleep isn't a luxury. It's a necessity for anyone serious about building their stress resilience.
It's like building a house. You can't build a strong, resilient house on a weak foundation. Sleep is that foundation for our personal resilience. When we skimp on sleep, we're weakening that very base.
Well put, Lisa. We've learned today that sleep is far more than just a period of inactivity. It's a vital biological process that actively enhances our cognitive abilities, stabilizes our emotions, and repairs our physical selves. A well-rested brain and body are inherently more resilient to stress.
So, to recap during sleep, 1. Our brains consolidate memories and improve learning, making us better problem solvers. 2. Our emotional centers are regulated, helping us manage feelings and react less intensely to stressors. 3. Our bodies regulate crucial hormones like cortisol, reducing the effects of chronic stress. 4. Deep sleep provides physical repair, while REM sleep aids emotional processing. All of these functions directly contribute to our ability to cope with and recover from everyday pressures.
And by understanding this neuroscience, we can see why making sleep a priority is one of the most impactful steps we can take for our stress-proofing journey.
Absolutely. It's the non-negotiable first step towards building robust resilience.
Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Last time, we explored sleep's vital role in resilience.
Absolutely. Good sleep helps our brains and bodies regulate and recharge, making us more resilient.
Exactly. Today, we're diving into optimizing your sleep architecture, making your sleep as effective and restorative as possible.
And how do we do that? Many of us struggle with sleep.
It starts with consistency. Establish a regular sleep schedule, going to bed and waking up around the same time every day, even on weekends.
So, no more sleeping in for hours on Saturday?
Catching up on sleep disrupts your internal body clock, your circadian rhythm. Aim for a difference of no more than an hour or two between weekday and weekend wake-up times. This consistency trains your body.
Okay, consistency is key. What else?
Your sleep environment. Make your bedroom a sleep sanctuary. Dark, quiet, and cool. Darkness signals your brain to produce melatonin, the sleep hormone.
So, no late night phone scrolling in bed?
Precisely. The blue light from screens can trick your brain into thinking it's daytime. Power down devices at least an hour before bed. Earplugs or a white noise machine can help with quiet. Most people sleep best in a slightly cool room, around 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit.
Dark, quiet, and cool. What about our routine before bed?
Your bedtime routine is your wind down period. It should be relaxing and signal your body to prepare for sleep. Activities like a warm bath, reading a physical book, gentle stretching, or listening to calming music work well.
A buffer zone between the day and sleep. What about things that might disrupt sleep, like caffeine or alcohol?
Excellent point. Caffeine is a stimulant. Avoid it in the late afternoon and evening. It can interfere with falling asleep deeply.
And alcohol? Some say it helps them fall asleep.
While alcohol can make you drowsy, it disrupts sleep architecture later in the night. It interferes with REM sleep, crucial for memory and emotional processing. Best to limit alcohol, especially before bed.
So, it's not a good sleep aid. What about exercise?
Regular exercise is great for sleep, but timing matters. Intense workouts too close to sleep can be stimulating. Finish vigorous exercise a few hours before bed. Lighter activities like gentle yoga are fine.
So, consistency, a sleep sanctuary, a relaxing routine, being mindful of consumption, and exercise timing. Anything else?
Managing light exposure throughout the day is important. Expose yourself to bright natural light as soon as possible after waking to set your internal clock. Get natural light exposure during the day.
So, a morning walk or opening curtains makes a difference.
Precisely. And as evening approaches, dim the lights in your home. This gradual reduction helps your body prepare for sleep by increasing melatonin.
It's all about signaling our body. This connects back to our stress audit, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Poor sleep amplifies stress, and stress disrupts sleep. By optimizing your sleep architecture, you're actively building your resilience. You're enhancing your body's ability to repair, regulate, and prepare for stressors.
It makes so much sense. It's about the quality and structure of our rest.
Exactly. And remember, these changes don't have to happen overnight. Start by focusing on one or two achievable areas. Small, consistent steps lead to lasting improvements.
So, progress, not perfection.
Yes, progress. And if you're still struggling significantly, consult a healthcare professional. Sleep disorders are treatable.
That's a great reminder. So, we've covered why sleep is crucial and how to optimize it. It's a key component in our resilience toolkit.
Indeed. Next episode, we'll explore another pillar of resilience, the unshakable foundation of social support. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to Stress Proof Your Life. We've been building our resilience toolkit, and today we focus on a vital component, social support.
Last time, Alex, we really dug into optimizing our sleep. We learned how crucial quality rest is for our bodies and minds to handle stress effectively.
That's right, Lisa. Good sleep is like recharging your batteries. But today, we're exploring another fundamental pillar of resilience, the unshakable foundation of social support. While sleep helps us process stress internally, our relationships provide a powerful external buffer.
This is so important. We've talked about many strategies, but this feels like the bedrock that holds it all together. It's something that perhaps wasn't fully highlighted in our personal stress audits.
Precisely. Your stress audit was about identifying challenges. Think of social support as the skill builders and the strong foundation that helps you handle those challenges. It's about the quality of your connections, not just having people around. Meaningful relationships act as a direct buffer against stress.
I'm curious, Alex, what exactly happens in our bodies when we feel supported?
When we experience real connection, our brain releases oxytocin, often called the love hormone. This hormone can actually lower cortisol, our main stress hormone. So, a supportive conversation or a hug can physically counteract stress. It's like your internal stress system gets a calming signal from your social network.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's a real, tangible benefit, not just a nice feeling. Our bodies are literally wired for connection as a stress management tool.
Absolutely. Humans have relied on community for survival and well-being for thousands of years. This drive for connection is ingrained in us. Modern science is now confirming what our ancestors intuitively knew. When we feel isolated, stress feels much more overwhelming, and our ability to cope shrinks.
So when we talk about a strong social support system, what does that really mean? Is it a big group of friends or something more intimate?
It's more about depth and breadth. We're talking about relationships where you can be your true self, where you feel understood and valued. These are the people you can confide in without fear of judgment, who offer practical help, and who genuinely share in your joys. These are your true allies.
So, it's about meaningful interactions. People you can rely on who offer different perspectives or simply listen without trying to fix everything.
Exactly. And this support can manifest in different ways. There's emotional support, like empathy. Then there's instrumental support, which is practical help, like someone helping you move. And informational support, where you get advice. A strong system often includes all of these.
This makes so much sense. When we're overwhelmed, knowing there are people to turn to for advice, comfort, or even just a distraction can lighten the load significantly.
Indeed. And sometimes we get in our own way. We might hesitate to ask for help because we don't want to be a burden or because past experiences have made us guarded. Overcoming these internal barriers is key to building and maintaining strong social support.
That requires vulnerability, doesn't it? To open up and admit you're finding things difficult.
It absolutely does. But remember, building these connections is a proactive system for resilience. Think of it like tending a garden. It needs consistent care and attention to flourish.
How do we tend this garden of social support? What are the practical steps?
First, identify who is already in your potential support network. This could be family, close friends, or colleagues. Recognize those existing threads of connection. Then, actively invest time in them. Regular check-ins, thoughtful messages, and showing up for them are all ways to nurture these relationships. It's a two-way street.
That reciprocity is so crucial. It's about giving as well as receiving support.
Precisely. And being present when you're with them. Put away distractions, listen actively, and engage genuinely. These actions show them they matter, deepening the connection.
What if someone feels their current network isn't as strong as they'd like, or they feel isolated?
That's where actively building new connections comes in. It often means stepping outside your comfort zone. Joining groups aligned with your interests is a great start. A book club, a hiking group, a volunteer organization. Shared activities create natural opportunities for connection.
You're creating spaces for those organic relationships to form.
Exactly. And as you meet new people, practice active listening. Ask open-ended questions and share about yourself to build rapport. The goal is to find common ground and develop genuine connections.
It's about fostering that feeling of belonging, which is a fundamental human need.
It truly is. And when that need is met, our resilience increases. Facing a challenge feels less daunting when you know you have others who understand, can offer advice, or simply provide encouragement. It's a shared load.
It's like having both a personal cheering squad and a team ready to help with practical tasks when needed.
A great analogy. And remember, support isn't always about solving problems. Sometimes, just knowing someone is listening without judgment is the most powerful comfort. It validates your feelings and reminds you you're not alone.
So, to sum up, Alex, strong social support offers physiological benefits like lower cortisol, driven by oxytocin. It's about the quality of relationships providing emotional, practical, and informational help. We nurture existing ties through consistent effort and reciprocity and build new ones by joining groups and actively engaging. Ultimately, it's about fostering belonging and shared experience.
Beautifully put, Lisa. Building and maintaining these relationships is an ongoing effort, but the rewards, greater resilience and well-being, are immense. This social support system is a cornerstone of making our lives truly stress-proof.
It's a vital piece of the puzzle, moving from internal resilience to the strength we find in each other.
Precisely. And this naturally leads us to our next episode, where we'll explore how to nurture your tribe. Next episode, Nurturing Your Tribe. Welcome back to Stress Proof Your Life. Last time, we dove deep into the foundational power of social support, understanding why our connections are so crucial for resilience.
That's right, Alex. We talked about how having a solid tribe can act as a buffer against life's inevitable stressors. But today, we're moving from understanding why it's important to how we actually build and nurture that tribe. It's all about actively cultivating our social network.
Exactly, Lisa. Episode 13 laid the groundwork. Now, episode 14 is all about the practical strategies for nurturing your tribe. Think of it as tending a garden. You can't just plant the seeds and expect a thriving ecosystem. You need to water, weed, and provide the right conditions. Our social connections are no different.
So, where do we start with this tending process, Alex? It can feel a bit daunting, especially if you're someone who's naturally a bit more introverted or perhaps hasn't prioritized social connections for a while.
A great place to start is by being intentional about vulnerability. Now, vulnerability doesn't mean oversharing with everyone, but it does mean allowing yourself to be seen, flaws and all, by the right people. When you open up a little, you give others permission to do the same, and that's where genuine connection is forged. Think about it. When someone shares a struggle with you, doesn't it make you feel closer to them?
It absolutely does. It feels like they trust you, and that trust is the bedrock of any strong relationship. So, it's about showing up authentically, perhaps sharing a challenge or a feeling, rather than always presenting a perfect facade.
Precisely. And this ties directly into building trust. Authentic vulnerability fosters reciprocal trust. When you trust someone to listen without judgment and to support you, you're more likely to reciprocate that trust. This creates a positive feedback loop. We touched on this briefly last time, but it's so vital we reinforce it. Your tribe is built on mutual trust and understanding.
That makes sense. It's not a one-way street, it's a give and take. And speaking of giving and taking, boundaries are also a huge part of nurturing relationships, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. This is a critical, often overlooked aspect of healthy social dynamics. Setting boundaries is not about pushing people away. It's about defining what is acceptable and what isn't in your interactions. It's about protecting your energy and your well-being so that you can be present and supportive for your tribe. Without boundaries, resentment can build, and that erodes the foundation of your support system.
So, a boundary might be saying no to a request you don't have the capacity for, or clearly communicating your needs about how often you can connect.
Exactly. It can be as simple as saying, I can't chat right now, but I'd love to connect tomorrow, or defining how you prefer to communicate. It's about respecting your own needs and communicating them clearly and kindly. This also helps you identify who respects your boundaries and who doesn't.
And that leads us to recognizing healthy versus unhealthy relationships, which is so important when you're trying to nurture your tribe. How can we differentiate?
That's a fantastic question, and it's a skill we all need to hone. Healthy relationships are characterized by mutual respect, open communication, empathy, and a shared sense of trust. In these relationships, you feel energized, heard, and supported. You can be yourself. Unhealthy relationships, on the other hand, often involve the opposite: disrespect, poor communication, manipulation, constant criticism, or a feeling of being drained after interacting.
And sometimes it's not overtly negative, but the connection just feels one-sided. You're always the one reaching out, always the one offering support, and you rarely receive it in return.
That's a very insightful observation, Lisa. That imbalance is a red flag. Nurturing your tribe means investing your energy in relationships that are reciprocal. It means actively choosing to spend time and emotional energy with people who uplift you and who you can uplift in return. It's about creating that symbiotic relationship where both parties benefit and grow.
So it's about being mindful of where our energy is going and who we are inviting into our inner circle. It's not about having the largest social network, but the most supportive one.
Precisely. Quality over quantity. And nurturing your tribe also involves showing appreciation. A simple thank you for listening, a small gesture of kindness, or acknowledging someone's effort goes a long way. When you appreciate your tribe, you reinforce their value in your life, and they feel seen and cherished. This deepens those bonds.
It's like actively showing gratitude. We often take those close relationships for granted, assuming they'll always be there. But like any precious resource, they need consistent acknowledgement.
Absolutely. And sometimes, nurturing your tribe requires courage. It might mean having a difficult conversation to resolve a conflict, or it might mean apologizing when you've made a mistake. These are opportunities for growth, not just for the individual, but for the relationship itself. Facing challenges together can actually strengthen the bonds within your tribe.
It's about being willing to do the work, even when it's uncomfortable. So, to recap for our listeners, nurturing your tribe involves intentionality. We need to be open to vulnerability with the right people, foster mutual trust, set clear boundaries to protect our energy, recognize the difference between healthy and unhealthy relationships, show appreciation, and have the courage to navigate difficult conversations.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. It's an ongoing process. You can't just build your tribe once and then forget about it. You need to consistently invest in these connections. Think about initiating contact. Don't always wait for others to reach out. Suggest a coffee, a walk, or a phone call. Be proactive in maintaining those ties.
And it's also about being present when you are with your tribe, putting away distractions, actively listening, and showing genuine interest in their lives creates a more meaningful connection than a superficial interaction.
Indeed, when you're with your chosen family, your friends, your confidants, be fully with them. This presence is a powerful form of nurturing. Remember that feeling of being truly heard. That's what you're aiming to provide your tribe members and what you hope to receive in return.
It's like creating a sanctuary, a space where you can be yourself, feel supported, and contribute to the well being of others. And we mentioned neuroscience earlier in the series. There's a biological component to this, isn't there? Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, is released when we engage in positive social interactions.
You're absolutely right. Our brains are wired for connection. Social support isn't just a nice to have, it's a fundamental human need that impacts our physical and mental health. When we nurture our tribe, we're literally improving our own biology and resilience. We're creating a buffer against stress by activating these feel good hormones and brain pathways.
And the more we practice these nurturing behaviors, the easier they become. It's like building a muscle. The first time you try to set a boundary or initiate a vulnerable conversation, it might feel awkward. But over time, it becomes more natural.
Exactly. And your tribe will also learn to recognize and appreciate these efforts. They'll see you showing up for them, and that strengthens their commitment to the relationship. It's a beautiful dance of giving and receiving that builds a robust support system.
So, for our listeners, the takeaway today is to be active participants in building and maintaining their supportive relationships. It requires intention, authenticity, clear communication, and consistent effort.
And remember, building and nurturing your tribe, as we've discussed, is one of the most powerful stress proofing tools you have at your disposal. It's an investment that pays dividends in resilience, happiness, and overall well being. Don't underestimate the power of your people.
A powerful reminder. Thank you, Alex. Next time, we'll be shifting our focus to the cognitive side of stress management as we explore the art of reframing stress.
That's right. We'll be looking at how our thoughts and interpretations of events can either amplify or diffuse stress. Join us then for episode 15, Reframing Stress, the Cognitive Shift. Welcome back. Last time, we explored the crucial role of our social connections in building resilience. Now, let's tackle the powerful internal tool, how we think about stress. We're talking about reframing stress, the cognitive shift that truly changes our experience.
Reframing stress, that sounds like a big concept, Alex. So, it's not about getting rid of the stress, but changing how we see it?
Exactly, Lisa. Think about it. Two people can face the exact same challenging situation. One might feel completely overwhelmed, seeing it as a catastrophe. The other might see it as a difficult problem to solve, a chance to learn, or even a temporary inconvenience. The situation is the same, but their response is dramatically different. This difference often comes down to how they frame the stressor in their mind.
So, our internal dialogue, the stories we tell ourselves about a stressful event, can actually make the stress itself feel less intense?
Precisely. And it's not just about feeling better in the moment. This cognitive shift this reframing, is foundational to building true resilience. Remember in our early episodes, we talked about conducting your personal stress audit? We identified your stress landscape, those internal pressures, those worries that pop up. Reframing is a direct way to address and transform those internal stressors.
Ah, yes, the internal stressors. Those are the ones that sneak up on you, the ones you might not even realize are bothering you until much later. So, if I'm constantly telling myself, this deadline is impossible, I'm going to fail, that's a stress frame?
That's a perfect example. You're framing the deadline not just as a deadline, but as an insurmountable obstacle leading to guaranteed failure. That thought process activates your body's stress response: fight, flight, or freeze. Your heart rate might increase, your muscles tense up, your mind races. It's your body preparing for a threat.
But if I could reframe it, maybe to something like, this deadline is challenging, but I've handled tough deadlines before. I can break it down into smaller steps and focus on one task at a time. That sounds like a completely different mental and physical experience.
And that's the magic of reframing. When you shift to that second statement, you're no longer in threat mode. You're in problem-solving mode. You might still feel a sense of urgency, but it's a more manageable, motivating kind of urgency rather than a paralyzing fear. You're cognitively telling your brain, this is okay, we can handle this.
It's like changing the operating system for how you process the situation. Instead of running the panic program, you're running the plan and execute program.
That's a great analogy, Lisa. You're essentially reprogramming your automatic response. The key here is understanding that most stressors aren't inherently catastrophic. Our interpretation of them is what often elevates them to that level. It's our beliefs and assumptions about the situation that dictate our emotional and physiological reactions.
So, this is about challenging our automatic negative thoughts, those deeply ingrained ways of seeing things.
Exactly. And it's a skill that can be learned and honed. One of the most powerful insights from decades of research in psychology is that while we can't always control external events, we have an incredible capacity to control our internal responses to those events. This is where the cognitive shift truly empowers us.
How does this connect back to the idea of resilience we've been building throughout the series?
Resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about what you learn and how you grow from challenges. When you consistently reframe stressors, you're not just reducing immediate discomfort, you're building a more robust mental framework. You're training yourself to see obstacles as opportunities. Over time, this makes you less susceptible to being derailed by future challenges. You become more anti-fragile, actually getting stronger when faced with adversity.
Anti-fragile. I love that concept. So, instead of just surviving stress, we can actually use it to become more capable?
That's the ultimate goal, and reframing is a cornerstone of that. It's about recognizing that your perception is not necessarily reality. What you believe to be true about a stressful situation isn't always the objective truth. There are often alternative, more empowering ways to view the same circumstances.
Could you give us an example of a common stressor and how we might reframe it?
Certainly. Let's take public speaking, something many people find very stressful. A common, unhelpful frame is, everyone will judge me. I'll forget what I want to say. I'll look foolish. This frame leads to anxiety, physical symptoms like a racing heart, and a desire to avoid the situation altogether.
Right. I can feel the tension just thinking about that frame.
Now let's try reframing. Instead of everyone will judge me, we could think people are generally supportive and want to learn something. They aren't focused on my flaws. Instead of I'll forget what I want to say, try it's okay if I pause or refer to my notes. My main goal is to share valuable information. And instead of I'll look foolish, consider this is an opportunity for me to share my expertise and connect with an audience.
Wow. That's a huge shift. The anxiety level drops dramatically just by hearing those alternative thoughts. It feels more like a challenge I can prepare for and execute, rather than a potential disaster.
It is. You're shifting from a scarcity mindset, focusing on what you lack or what could go wrong, to an abundance mindset, focusing on what you have and what you can achieve. This cognitive flexibility is a critical component of stress management and overall well-being.
So, for anyone listening, the takeaway is that we have the power to choose how we interpret and respond to stress.
Absolutely. It's not about denying that stress exists or pretending it's not difficult. It's about actively engaging with our thoughts and challenging the default, often negative, interpretations we might have. We're not passive recipients of stress. We are active participants in shaping our experience of it.
And this concept of reframing, this cognitive shift, is something we can practice and get better at, right? It's not a one-time fix.
Precisely. It takes conscious effort and regular practice. In our next episode, we'll explore some practical techniques for practicing positive reframing. We'll learn how to identify those unhelpful thought patterns and actively replace them with more constructive ones. But for today, the key takeaway is understanding that your mind is your most powerful tool for navigating stress. By consciously reframing your stressors, you can fundamentally change your experience, build incredible resilience, and move towards a truly stress-proof life.
So, the way we think about a stressor can actually change how our body and mind react to it. It's about choosing empowering interpretations over debilitating ones, and this practice builds our resilience over time.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. Next episode, practicing positive reframing techniques. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to Stress Proof Your Life. Last time, we explored the powerful idea of reframing stress, understanding how our perspective can dramatically change our experience. Today, Lisa will guide us through practical techniques to actually do that reframing.
That's right, Alex. Episode 15 laid the groundwork, and now it's time to put those principles into practice. We're going to learn how to actively rewire our thought patterns to see challenges not as insurmountable obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. Think of it like putting on a different pair of glasses that make the world look a little brighter, even on a cloudy day. So, let's dive into practicing positive reframing techniques. This is all about challenging those automatic negative thoughts, or ENTs as some call them, automatic negative thoughts. These are often the first things that pop into our minds when something stressful happens. They can be dismissive, catastrophizing, or overly critical. Imagine you're running late for an important meeting. Your ENTs might kick in with, "I'm always late. I'm going to mess this up. My boss will be furious." These thoughts can immediately amplify your stress and make you feel helpless. Now, let's apply reframing. The first step is to become aware of these ENTs. You need to catch them in the act. This requires a bit of self-observation. When you feel that surge of stress, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Once you've identified the negative thought, the next step is to challenge it. Is it absolutely true? Is it helpful? In the case of being late, are you always late? Probably not. Will one instance of being late cause your entire career to collapse? Unlikely. This is where we learn to replace the ENT with a more realistic and constructive thought. For our late for a meeting scenario, a reframed thought could be, okay, I'm running late. That's frustrating, but I can still make it. I'll send a quick message to let them know I'm on my way and will be there as soon as I can. I'll focus on doing my best once I arrive. See the difference? We've acknowledged the situation, but we've shifted from a self-blaming, catastrophic view to one of problem-solving and action.
That's a fantastic example, Lisa. It highlights how reframing isn't about denying reality, but about choosing a more empowering interpretation of it. It's about recognizing that while we can't always control the external circumstances, we have immense power over our internal response.
Exactly. And there are several ways we can practice this. One powerful technique is called worst-case scenario thinking, but not in the way you might expect. Instead of dwelling on the worst, we explore it realistically, acknowledge it, and then brainstorm how we would cope if it did happen. Often, we realize we are far more capable of handling a bad situation than we initially feared. So, for our late for the meeting example, the worst case scenario? Maybe the boss is extremely angry and it impacts your performance review. But then, what would you do? You'd apologize sincerely, explain the situation briefly, and commit to being more punctual. You'd focus on the next steps. This realization can greatly reduce the perceived threat of the situation. Another technique is finding the silver lining. Every experience, even a stressful one, has a potential positive outcome or a lesson learned. It might be a lesson in time management, in prioritizing, or even in learning to communicate better about unexpected delays. Sometimes, this silver lining is simply the opportunity to practice resilience.
I love that. It's about asking yourself, what can I learn from this? Or how can this make me stronger? It shifts the focus from the problem to the growth potential.
Precisely. And we can also use cost-benefit analysis, but applied to our own reactions. Consider the costs of staying stuck in a negative, stressful mindset. It drains your energy, impacts your mood, and can damage your relationships. Now, what are the benefits of reframing? Increased calm, better problem solving, improved self-esteem, and greater resilience. When you weigh them, the benefits of reframing almost always far outweigh the costs of staying stuck. Let's try a slightly different scenario. Imagine you receive critical feedback on a project you worked hard on. The initial thought might be, they hate my work. I'm not good enough. Now let's reframe. First, acknowledge the feeling. Okay, this feedback stings a bit. Second, challenge the thought. Are they saying they hate all my work or just this specific project? Is this one person's opinion or a consensus? Am I truly not good enough? Or did I just miss the mark on this particular task? Third, reframe. This feedback, while difficult to hear, is an opportunity to improve. What specific points can I address to make my work stronger next time? How can I use this to get better? This reframed perspective turns criticism into a valuable learning tool.
It's like turning a potential setback into a stepping stone. And I think a key part of this is intentionality. We're not just passively hoping for positive thoughts, we're actively cultivating them.
Absolutely. And to help with that intentionality, I encourage you all to start a reframing journal. This journal is a space to write down stressful situations, identify your initial negative thoughts, and then explore alternative, more constructive perspectives. Here's a simple structure you can use. 1. Situation asterisk briefly describe this stressful event. 2. Initial thought asterisk what was your first negative reaction? Be honest. 3. Challenge asterisk question the validity and helpfulness of that thought. Ask, is this 100% true? Or what's another way to look at this? 4. Reframed thought asterisk write down a new, more positive or realistic thought. 5. Lesson learned slash opportunity asterisk what can you take away from this experience? Keeping this journal can help you recognize recurring negative patterns and build a library of effective reframed responses. Over time, this becomes more automatic. Think of it like practicing a new skill. When you first learn to play an instrument, it's hard. You make mistakes. But with consistent practice, the chords and melodies start to flow more smoothly. Reframing works the same way. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to catch and redirect those negative thoughts.
And this practice directly supports building the resilient systems we've been talking about throughout this series. By consistently reframing challenges, we weaken the hold that stress has over us, making us more robust and adaptable.
Couldn't have said it better. It builds that inner strength, that self-compassion we touched on early in the series. When you reframe a negative experience, you're essentially being kinder to yourself, acknowledging your efforts while also looking for ways to grow. You're not beating yourself up, you're learning. So, to recap what we've covered today, we talked about identifying automatic negative thoughts, those initial, often unhelpful reactions to stress. We learn to challenge these thoughts by questioning their accuracy and helpfulness. And we practiced several reframing techniques, finding the silver lining, exploring the worst case scenario constructively, and performing a cost benefit analysis of our own reactions. We also introduced the idea of a reframing journal as a practical tool to hone these skills. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate all negative feelings, that's unrealistic. It's to choose how we interpret and respond to stress. By actively practicing positive reframing, we take control of our mental landscape and build a more resilient, stress-proof life.
That's powerful advice, Lisa. It gives listeners tangible steps to implement what we discussed in the last episode.
And next time, we're going to shift our focus to the physical side of stress release. We'll be diving into releasing tension, body-based wisdom, part 1. You've educated our minds, and now we'll explore how to release stress stored in our bodies.
Excellent. So, for today, we've learned how to practice positive reframing. Next episode, releasing tension, body-based wisdom, part 1. Welcome back. Last time, we explored the incredible power of reframing our thoughts to change how we perceive and react to stress. We learned how to challenge negative thought patterns.
That's right, Alex. And it was so practical. Understanding how our minds create stress and then consciously choosing a different perspective is a huge step. But what happens when that stress isn't just in our heads? It gets stuck in our bodies, doesn't it?
Exactly, Lisa. And that's precisely where we're heading today. We're diving into the second major pillar of stress management, somatic wisdom, or body-based stress release. For too long, we've treated the mind and body as separate entities, but they are deeply interconnected. When stress floods our system, it's not just a mental experience. It triggers a cascade of physical responses.
I can definitely relate to that. That feeling of tightness in my shoulders and knot in my stomach, or even just that general sense of being on edge. That's the body's stress response, isn't it?
Precisely. This is the fight or flight response in action, a survival mechanism designed to protect us from perceived threats. Our bodies prepare for action by tensing muscles, increasing heart rate, and diverting energy. The problem is in modern life, these threats are often chronic deadlines, traffic, financial worries, and our bodies stay in this state of high alert for prolonged periods. This leads to what we call stored tension.
Stored tension. That sounds like something that doesn't just go away on its own.
No, it doesn't. And it can have a real impact on our well-being. This chronic tension can manifest as headaches, fatigue, digestive issues, and even contribute to more serious health problems over time. So, just like we learn to reframe our thoughts, we need to learn to release this physical tension. Today, we begin with the foundation, becoming aware of where we hold tension, and then introducing some simple yet powerful body-based techniques.
So, the first step is really just paying attention to our physical sensations. It's like a bodily audit.
You've got it. Let's call it a somatic audit. Just like you conducted a personal stress audit to identify your stressors, now we'll do the same for your physical self. This involves tuning into your body and noticing where you habitually store stress. It's about building awareness, not about pushing or forcing anything.
How do we do that? Do we need special equipment or a quiet room?
Thankfully, no. You can start building this awareness right now, wherever you are. The simplest way is through mindful body scanning. Find a comfortable position, either sitting or standing. Gently close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or soften your gaze. Now, bring your attention to your breath. Just notice it. No need to change it. Just observe the gentle rise and fall.
Okay, I'm focusing on my breath. It feels calmer already.
Excellent. Now, begin to direct your awareness downwards, starting with your feet. Notice any sensations there. Are they warm, cold, tingling, tense, relaxed? Simply observe without judgment.
My feet feel a bit tight, actually. I hadn't noticed that before.
That's the somatic audit in action. That's valuable information. Now, slowly move your awareness up your body. Notice your ankles, your calves, your knees. Are there any sensations of tightness, pressure, or discomfort? Then continue up to your thighs, your hips, and your pelvis.
This is interesting. I can feel a definite tightness in my lower back, like a clenching.
Wonderful awareness. Keep moving your attention upwards. Your abdomen, your chest, your upper back. Many people hold tension in their shoulders and neck. See if you can notice any tightness there. Then move your awareness to your arms, your hands, your fingers. Finally, bring your attention to your jaw, your face, your forehead, and the crown of your head.
Wow. My jaw feels really clenched, and my forehead is definitely furrowed. I was so focused on my work earlier, I didn't even realize I was doing it.
This is a common experience. We get so absorbed in our tasks that our bodies start holding on to stress without us even being aware of it. The goal here isn't to fix it immediately, but to simply notice. This awareness is the crucial first step towards releasing that tension. Remember that feeling of tightness in your shoulders? Just acknowledge it. Oh, my shoulders are tight.
So, recognizing where the tension is the main objective for now?
Exactly. You just completed your first somatic audit for this moment. Over time, you can practice this body scan regularly. You might find different areas of tension show up at different times. For instance, you might notice more tension in your chest when you're feeling anxious or in your jaw when you're frustrated. Your body is constantly communicating with you through these sensations.
It's like learning a new language, the language of my own body.
That's a perfect analogy, Lisa. And just like any language, it takes practice. Now that we've begun building this awareness, let's explore a simple technique to start releasing some of that stored tension. We'll call this the gentle release method. It's about encouraging the body to let go rather than forcing it.
I'm ready.
Great. Let's start with those shoulders you identified. Without trying to force them down, simply notice the tension. Now, imagine you're going to slightly tense those muscles a tiny bit more. Just a gentle squeeze, not a full clench. Hold that slight engagement for a moment.
Okay, a little squeeze in my shoulders.
Now, as you exhale slowly, very gradually, allow those muscles to soften and release. Imagine the tension melting away like ice on a warm day. Don't just relax, but actively release. Feel the difference between the slight engagement and the subsequent softness.
Oh, that's, I can feel a difference. It feels looser.
That's the power of this technique. You're not just letting go, you're actively inviting the release. Now, let's try that with your jaw. Gently clench your jaw a little, just slightly, and as you exhale, allow it to drop open just a tiny bit, letting the tension release. Feel the jaw muscle soften.
Exhales audibly. Yes, that's noticeable. I think I was holding my jaw so tight without realizing it.
This method works best when paired with your breath. The exhalation is a natural cue for release. So, a slight, controlled tensing of an area where you feel tension, followed by a slow, mindful exhale where you consciously invite that tension to melt away. We can do this with your forehead too. Imagine furrowing your brow slightly, and then as you exhale, let your brow smooth out completely.
It feels like I'm giving my body permission to relax, which I guess I haven't been doing.
You're giving your body permission to let go of what it's been holding onto unnecessarily. This isn't about eliminating all physical sensation, but about differentiating between healthy, functional tension and the chronic, stress-induced tension that serves no purpose. Think of the stored tension like a backpack full of rocks you've been carrying around all day. You didn't even realize how heavy it was, but setting it down brings immense relief.
That's a great image. So, for our listeners, the key takeaways from today are to start by simply noticing where they hold tension in their bodies, like a somatic audit. And then, to practice this gentle release method on exhale, gradually inviting tension to melt away.
Exactly. Building this mind-body awareness is fundamental to truly stress-proofing your life. Next time, we'll continue this journey into body-based wisdom, exploring more techniques to help you release tension and restore your physical equilibrium. Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Last time we explored how our bodies store stress. Now let's release it.
That's right, Alex. In episode 17, we started our journey into body-based wisdom, understanding how stress can manifest as physical tension. We learned to tune into our bodies and identify areas where we're holding on to that tension, perhaps without even realizing it.
And today, we're diving deeper into practical techniques to actively release that tension. We'll move beyond just noticing it to actually letting it go. Think of it as a deep clean for your physical self.
Exactly. If episode 17 was about creating awareness of the tension, this episode is about transforming that awareness into action. We'll explore more targeted practices that can help release deeply held tightness and bring a greater sense of ease to your body.
One of the most accessible and powerful ways to release tension is through gentle stretching and mindful movement. It's not about intense workouts, but about connecting with your body and moving it in ways that feel good and promote release.
So, what kind of movements are we talking about? I think a lot of people might hear stretching and picture complicated yoga poses.
Not at all. We're talking about simple movements that honor your body's current state. One great example is mindful walking. As you walk, pay attention to the sensation of your feet on the ground, the swing of your arms, the gentle yielding of your muscles. Don't rush. Instead, allow each step to be an exploration of movement and release. Imagine you're discovering gravity for the first time with each step.
That sounds lovely and very grounding. So, it's about the quality of the movement, not the intensity.
Precisely. Another technique is dynamic stretching. Instead of holding a stretch for a long time, you move through a range of motion. Think of gentle arm circles, leg swings, or torso twists. The key is to move smoothly and fluidly, allowing your body to explore its natural range and release tension gradually. Move only as far as feels comfortable, letting your body guide you.
I can see how that would feel less intimidating than holding a static stretch. It feels more like play.
It does. And speaking of play, have you ever noticed how animals shake themselves out after a scare or waking up? There's wisdom in that. This leads us to shaking or trembling as a release mechanism. It sounds a bit unusual, but it's a natural way for mammals to discharge excess energy and deeply held tension.
Shaking? Like shivering?
Similar, but more intentional. You can start by gently bouncing on the balls of your feet, letting a slight jiggle move up through your legs and body. You can softly shake your hands and arms, letting them feel loose and free. Or you can lie on your back, lift your legs slightly, and a gentle flutter or shake. The goal is to allow the nervous system to release stored adrenaline and tension. It's a way of saying it's safe to let go now.
That sounds incredibly liberating. So, we're essentially giving our bodies permission to release energy it might have been holding on to from stressful situations.
Exactly. Imagine your body as a container. When we experience stress, it's like pouring excess energy into that container. If it overflows or gets stagnant, it can create tension. Shaking helps to gently empty the container, allowing the energy to dissipate.
When we were discussing the stress audit, I realized how much tension I hold in my shoulders and jaw. Are there specific movements for those areas?
Absolutely. For the shoulders, try shrugging them up towards your ears, holding for a moment, and then letting them drop completely. Repeat this several times, focusing on the release with each drop. You can also do gentle shoulder rolls, both forwards and backwards. For the jaw, Try gently opening your mouth as wide as comfortable and then slowly closing it. You can also gently massage your jaw muscles with your fingertips. Sometimes, just consciously unclenching your jaw and letting your tongue rest away from the roof of your mouth can make a big difference.
And these practices, do they also connect with our breathing?
Oh, definitely. Breathing is the anchor for all these body-based practices. As you move or shake, try to breathe deeply and smoothly. Exhaling is particularly important for release. When you exhale, imagine you are breathing out the tension you're releasing. Let the out-breath be longer than the in-breath to encourage relaxation.
So, to recap episode 17 and today's episode, we've learned that our bodies are storage units for stress. In episode 17, we developed the awareness to identify where that tension lives. Today, we've explored practical ways to release it.
That's a great summary, Lisa. We discussed mindful movement, like gentle walking and dynamic stretching, focusing on fluid motion. We touched upon the power of shaking and trembling as a natural release mechanism for the nervous system. And we looked at targeted movements for common tension areas like the shoulders and jaw, all anchored by our breath.
It feels empowering to know we have these tools to actively combat physical tension. It's not just about managing stress mentally, but physically too.
Precisely. And remember, consistency is key. Even short, regular practice of these techniques can lead to profound changes in how much tension you hold and how quickly you can release it. The more you practice, the more your body will remember how to let go.
It's like training a muscle, but we're training our nervous system to be more efficient at releasing stress.
Exactly. And this all builds on the foundation we've been creating throughout this series. Understanding our stress, building our resilience toolkit, and now actively releasing the physical manifestations of stress.
This has been so helpful, Alex. I feel more equipped to notice and release tension throughout my day.
I'm glad to hear it. We've covered a lot of ground in exploring how to release tension from the body. Next episode, designing your anti-fragile lifestyle.
Designing an anti-fragile lifestyle. That sounds fascinating.
It is, and it's the perfect next step. Join us then as we explore how to build a life that doesn't just withstand stress, but actually grows stronger from it. Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Today, we introduce designing your anti-fragile lifestyle.
Anti-fragile. That suggests getting stronger from stress, not just surviving it.
Precisely. We've built resilience systems, understanding stress, breathing, sleep, social support, and thought reframing. These help us withstand stress and return to our normal state. Anti-fragility aims higher.
So resilience is like an umbrella in the rain. What is anti-fragility?
Resilience is the umbrella. Anti-fragility is like a plant that thrives on rain and sun, growing stronger because of them. When faced with adversity and armed with our systems, we don't just endure, we actually improve.
That's a powerful distinction. So, how do we design a lifestyle that encourages this kind of strength? Where do we even begin?
We begin by looking at all the systems we've discussed and seeing how they can be leveraged not just to prepare for stress, but to benefit from it. Remember our personal stress audit? That gave us foundational insights. Now, we're shifting from a defensive posture to an offensive one, not in a combative sense, but in a proactive growth sense.
It sounds like actively seeking out challenges, but in a controlled way?
Not necessarily seeking out challenges, but rather recognizing that challenges are inevitable and proactively building systems that allow us to metabolize them in a way that increases our capacity and strength. Think about how muscles grow. They're subjected to microscopic tears during exercise, and then they repair and become stronger than before. An anti-fragile lifestyle does something similar for our minds, our emotions, and our overall well-being.
So, instead of avoiding stressors, we're creating the conditions to emerge from them stronger. How does this connect with our previous topics, like breathing and sleep?
Great question. Let's take breathing as an example. We learned foundational breathing for instant calm. But what if we also practiced breath work during moments of mild tension? Not to eliminate the tension, but to notice how our body responds and then, through conscious breathing, brings itself back to center. Each time we do that, we're reinforcing our capacity to self-regulate and proving to ourselves that we can handle discomfort. That's an anti-fragile benefit.
Ah, so it's about building confidence in our own ability to navigate difficult moments, and with each successful navigation, that confidence grows.
Exactly. And sleep? We worked on optimizing our sleep architecture. An anti-fragile approach to sleep might involve acknowledging that sometimes, due to life's demands, our sleep won't be perfect. Instead of spiraling into anxiety about a bad night, we have the tools and perspective to manage it. We know how to prioritize recovery rituals, how to use our breathing techniques to calm ourselves, and how to make the most of the sleep we do get. We don't crumble. We adapt and recover with enhanced capability.
It's like having a robust recovery protocol built in. And what about our social support systems? How do they contribute to anti-fragility?
Nurturing our tribe becomes even more critical. When we face adversity, a strong support network doesn't just offer comfort. It can offer different perspectives, practical help, and encouragement that helps us see challenges as opportunities for growth. Sharing our struggles, rather than hiding them, can paradoxically make us stronger because we learn from others' experiences and reinforce our connections. It's a feedback loop of mutual strength.
So, the vulnerability we share within our trusted tribe actually fosters a collective strength that makes us all more resilient and perhaps even anti-fragile.
You're connecting the dots beautifully. And remember reframing stress, the cognitive shift part of our journey? This is where it truly shines in an anti-fragile context. Instead of seeing a setback as proof of failure, an anti-fragile mindset actively looks for the lesson, the new skill acquired, or the deeper understanding gained. It's about finding the silver lining, not as a forced optimism, but as a genuine recognition of growth.
This is starting to sound like a fundamental shift in how we perceive and interact with life's inevitable difficulties. It's not about becoming immune to challenges, but becoming better because of them.
That's the essence of it. An anti-fragile lifestyle isn't about building a fortress to keep bad things out. It's about building a dynamic internal ecosystem that can take in the external pressures and use them as fuel for transformation and growth. It's about thriving, not just surviving. It's about developing the capacity not only to bounce back, but to bounce forward.
So, to design this anti-fragile lifestyle, we're essentially taking all the resilience tools we've acquired, our breathing, our sleep habits, our social connections, our reframing skills, and our body-based practices, and consciously using them not just to mitigate stress, but to actively harness its potential for personal development.
Exactly. It's about intentional design. We're moving beyond simply reacting to stress towards proactively structuring our lives so that stressors, when they inevitably arise, contribute to our strength, learning, and evolution. The systems we've built are the scaffolding upon which we can build this enhanced capacity. We are not just building resilience. We are cultivating a state where adversity is an opportunity for improvement.
It feels like a natural progression from managing stress to truly mastering our response to it and emerging from it not just unscathed, but stronger.
That's the ultimate goal. In our next episode, we'll explore integrating these proactive systems into the fabric of your everyday life. We'll explore how to weave these anti-fragile principles into your daily routines so they become second nature. Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Last time we explored designing your anti-fragile lifestyle. Now, let's integrate proactive systems into your day.
That's right, Alex. When these resilient strategies become second nature, we build our ability to bounce back and even grow stronger from challenges. It's about creating a life that's less susceptible to stress overwhelming us.
Exactly. The goal is to be proactive, not just reactive. Let's think about your daily routines as opportunities. What are your consistent anchor points? Mornings, meal times, commutes, evenings? These are perfect spots to weave in resilience practices.
Those are excellent touch points. Mornings are particularly crucial. If we start the day with intention, using a resilience practice, we set a positive and centered tone. Instead of immediately grabbing your phone, dedicate those first few minutes to a simple breathing exercise.
Absolutely. You wake up, and before your mind starts racing with thoughts, you take 5 deep, intentional breaths. Remember how we discussed breathing for calm and focus? Even just a minute or two can significantly shift your nervous system to a more balanced state. It acts as a mini reset button for your entire day.
And that small, positive shift can have a ripple effect. If you start your day calmer, you're naturally less likely to be triggered by minor annoyances or unexpected challenges. So consider this. What's one small, proactive step you could consciously take in the first 15 minutes of your day to boost your resilience? It could be focusing on your breath, practicing gratitude, or simply enjoying a quiet cup of tea without distractions.
Now, let's consider the commute. For many, this is a significant source of daily stress. But what if we reframe that time? Instead of viewing it as lost or wasted time, can we use it actively to our advantage? We've talked about the benefits of nature. Even a short commute can incorporate elements of connecting with nature.
That's a fantastic point. If you drive, perhaps take a slightly more scenic route and open your windows to let in fresh air. If you use public transport, use that time to listen to calming music, an inspiring podcast, or simply observe the world around you with a sense of gentle curiosity, without judgment.
And don't underestimate the power of social support during these transition times. During your commute, or perhaps your lunch break, could you send a quick positive message to a friend or family member? It's a small act that nurtures your vital connections and strengthens that essential support system we've discussed.
That's a very practical approach. It's about weaving small, consistent, positive actions into the moments we already have in our day. Your commute transforms from a point of stress into an opportunity for mindfulness, connection, or calming sensory input.
Let's move to meal times. These are often rushed affairs in our busy lives, but they should really be opportunities for nourishment, both for our bodies and our minds, and for connection. Can we try to have at least one meal a day where we're not multitasking, where we're truly present, savoring the food, and engaging in mindful conversation if we're with others?
This connects directly to reframing stress. If mealtimes have typically been anxious experiences, choosing to consciously make them a moment of calm and presence is a powerful act of cognitive reframing. We're not just eating, we're refueling our bodies and minds with intention and care.
And then there's the end of the day. This is where our recovery rituals become paramount. How can we design our evenings to actively promote relaxation and prepare us for truly restorative sleep? This might involve setting clear boundaries around work emails, creating a calming bedtime routine, or engaging in reflective journaling to process the day.
Journaling is such a wonderful way to process the day's events. It can serve as a safe space to acknowledge stresses and challenges and, importantly, to actively note down things you are grateful for. This ties back to the cognitive shift we explored. Actively looking for the positive helps to counter the negativity bias that stress can create in our minds.
So, we're talking about creating actual systems for resilience, not just adopting isolated techniques. A system means these practices are integrated into your life, not treated as separate, optional events. Think of it like building habits. You brush your teeth daily because it's a fundamental preventative health practice.
That's a perfect analogy. And to make these systems truly stick, consistency is absolutely key. It's far more effective to do a 5-minute breathing exercise every single day than to attempt a 1-hour session only once a month. Small, consistent efforts build the mental and emotional muscles we need for anti-fragility. We're truly designing an anti-fragile lifestyle.
Let's recap the proactive systems we've discussed integrating into your daily life. First, establishing intentional morning rituals. Even a few minutes of focused breathing or gratitude can powerfully set the tone for your entire day. Second, transforming transitional times like commutes into opportunities for mindfulness, nature connection, or positive social interaction. Third, making mealtimes a conscious act of nourishment and presence, rather than a rushed obligation. And fourth, designing a calming evening routine to actively support recovery and prepare your body and mind for sleep.
And underpinning all of these integrated practices is the consistent application of reframing. Instead of viewing these practices as chores or extra burdens, we're consciously choosing to see them as vital investments in our long-term well-being. They are the essential building blocks of our personal resilience blueprint.
Precisely. These aren't quick fixes that offer temporary relief. They're deliberate, ongoing choices that fundamentally change how we experience and respond to life's inherent challenges. We're shifting from a reactive stance, where stress controls us, to a proactive, resilient stance, where we direct our response. Remember, the ultimate goal is to make these practices so ingrained, so natural, that they happen almost automatically.
So, for our listeners today, the challenge is to pick just one area, your morning, your commute, your lunch, or your evening, and identify one small, proactive step you can consciously integrate starting tomorrow. What's that one thing you can commit to doing consistently?
That's a great challenge, Lisa. By consistently integrating these proactive systems, we move from merely surviving stress to truly thriving, building genuine strength along the way. This is how we build a life that's not just stress-proof, but genuinely resilient and anti-fragile.
Next episode, building your personal resilience blueprint.
Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Last time we covered integrating proactive systems into your day. Now, let's build your personal resilience blueprint.
It sounds like this is where everything we've learned comes together. We've defined our stress landscape, audited our personal stress triggers, explored proactive management, built resilience toolkits, practiced recovery rituals, and even looked at breathing, nature, sleep, social support, and reframing our thoughts. Now, we're putting it all into a personalized plan.
Exactly, Lisa. Think of your resilience blueprint as your unique roadmap for navigating life's inevitable challenges. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution, but rather a custom design system tailored to you. We'll be combining the insights from your personal stress audit with the practical strategies we've discussed throughout this series.
So, where do we begin with creating this blueprint? It feels a bit daunting to go from individual tools to a cohesive plan.
Great question. The first step is a review. Take some time to revisit your stress audit, those notes you made about your specific stressors, your reactions, and when your stress levels tend to spike. This is your foundation. What are the recurring themes? Are there particular situations, times of day, or even thought patterns that consistently trigger a stress response for you?
Right? So identifying those core stressors is key. Then, how do we match the strategies we've learned to those specific stressors? For instance, if I identified busy mornings as a major stressor, what part of our toolkit would I pull from?
Excellent example. For busy mornings, you might look to several areas. First, proactively managing your stress. This could involve preparing things the night before, like choosing your outfit, packing your lunch, or setting out breakfast ingredients. This is about reducing decision fatigue when you're already in a high-pressure moment.
That makes sense. And then perhaps integrating a quick recovery ritual, a short, focused breathing exercise right after you start your engine, or before you even step out the door, could make a difference.
Precisely. And remember our episode on building your daily resilience toolkit? Maybe your morning resilience strategy involves a brief period of gratitude or a quick mindfulness moment, even just 60 seconds to set a calmer tone. For some, it might be a short walk in nature before the day truly begins. This is where personal preference and what truly resonates with you comes in.
So the blueprint isn't just a generic list of good habits. It's about selecting and layering the strategies that are most effective for your unique stress triggers.
Exactly. We're looking for synergy. Your blueprint should ideally include elements of proactive management, ongoing resilience building, and effective recovery. Let's break down these three pillars of your blueprint.
Pillar 1, proactive management. This is about anticipating and preventing stress before it even builds up, right?
Yes, this involves identifying your significant stressors and then designing your environment and your schedule to minimize their impact. This might mean setting boundaries, delegating tasks, or even saying no to commitments that will overwhelm you. It's about taking control of what you can control. Remember our discussion on designing your anti-fragile lifestyle? This is where those principles are implemented, planning for demands rather than just reacting to them.
And this proactive element likely involves regular reviews, doesn't it? Because our lives and our stressors can change.
Absolutely. Your blueprint isn't static, it's a living document. Regularly reviewing your triggers and your strategies is crucial. Now, Pillar 2, ongoing resilience building. This is about strengthening your core capacity to handle stress when it does arise. This is where daily practices come into play.
This sounds like the nutrition and exercise of our emotional well being. Things like consistent sleep, healthy eating, regular movement, and nurturing our social connections.
You've hit the nail on the head, Lisa. These are the non-negotiables, the foundational pieces that make you inherently more resilient. Think about incorporating consistent sleep hygiene, mindful eating, and regular physical activity. And don't underestimate the power of your social tribe. Nurturing those relationships isn't just a nice to have, it's a critical resilience building practice. These are the systems that keep your engine running smoothly day in and day out.
And remember the neuroscience of sleep we discussed? Optimizing our sleep architecture is a direct investment in our brain's ability to cope with stress. It's like upgrading your operating system.
Precisely. And that brings us to Pillar 3, effective recovery. Even with the best proactive strategies and strong resilience building, life will throw curveballs. Recovery is about having a plan for when you experience stress.
This is where our recovery rituals and our breathing techniques come in. Quick, effective ways to hit the reset button.
Exactly. It's about recognizing the signs that you're accumulating stress and knowing what to do. This might be a few minutes of deep breathing, a short meditation, listening to calming music, spending time in nature, or engaging in an activity that brings you joy. These are your go-to tools for de-escalation.
So, putting it all together in a blueprint, I'd identify my top 3 to 5 personal stressors from my audit. Then, for each stressor, I'd identify a proactive management strategy, an ongoing resilience practice that supports my ability to handle it, and a specific recovery ritual or a set of rituals that I can deploy when I feel that stressor hitting hard.
That's a fantastic way to frame it, Lisa. You're creating a personalized, multi-layered defense system. For example, let's say one of your stressors is public speaking.
Okay, public speaking. My proactive strategy might be thorough preparation and practicing my presentation multiple times well in advance.
Good. And an ongoing resilience practice that supports you with this might be regular mindfulness practice to calm your nervous system and build mental fortitude, or perhaps engaging in activities that boost your confidence in other areas of your life.
And my recovery ritual for public speaking stress? Probably a few minutes of focused, deep diaphragmatic breathing immediately after the presentation, or a short walk to clear my head and release any lingering tension.
Perfect. You see how that works? It's a structured approach, but it's entirely customizable. Your blueprint is your personal commitment to yourself and your well-being. It's about creating a life where stress is managed, not overwhelming. Remember, anti-fragility isn't about avoiding stress. It's about becoming stronger because of it.
So, to recap, your personal resilience blueprint is built on three pillars: proactive management, ongoing resilience building, and effective recovery. You start by revisiting your stress audit to identify your key stressors. Then, for each major stressor, you identify specific strategies from each of these three pillars that will help you navigate it.
And as you build this blueprint, I encourage you to think about how these elements integrate. How does your improved sleep from the resilience building pillar make your proactive planning more effective? How do your recovery rituals prepare you to be more proactive the next day? It's a beautiful, interconnected system. This blueprint is your personalized strategy for building that enduring resilience we've been talking about, making you not just stress-proof, but truly anti-fragile.
It's empowering to have a tangible plan. It feels like moving from knowing the tools to actually wielding them with intention.
Exactly. And by creating this blueprint now, you're setting yourself up for success in the long term. You've done the hard work of understanding yourself and learning these powerful strategies. Now, it's time to make them your own.
Building this blueprint is the ultimate act of self-care and self-mastery in our stress-proofing journey.
It truly is. And what a journey it's been. Next time, we'll be diving into advanced stress navigation. Next episode, advanced stress navigation. Welcome back. Last time we covered building your resilience blueprint. Now let's tackle advanced stress navigation.
That sounds crucial, Alex. Because while our blueprint is excellent for the daily grind, life has a way of throwing curveballs. Sometimes it's not just about everyday annoyances, but larger, more complex, or even chronic stressors. How do we adapt our resilience systems when those storm clouds gather?
Exactly, Lisa. Think of your resilience blueprint as your well-maintained road. It's great for your regular commute. Advanced stress navigation is about knowing how to handle a detour, a closed road, or even a mountain pass. It's about adapting your systems when the challenges are significant and persistent.
So, we're not just talking about a bad day, but potentially a bad month or even longer. What's the first step in navigating these tougher situations?
The first step is acknowledging the scale of the stressor. Our resilience systems are powerful, but they're not magic. When faced with a crisis, a major health issue, significant financial hardship, a complex relationship problem, or a prolonged period of high demand at work, we need to recognize that our usual coping mechanisms might feel insufficient. It's about understanding that the intensity and duration require a more robust or adapted approach.
It's like trying to swat a fly with a feather duster. You need a bigger tool for a bigger problem. So, acknowledging the problem is key. What's next?
Next, we leverage and adapt our existing blueprint. Remember the foundational elements we've built? Breathing exercises, recovery rituals, social support, sleep optimization. These are not just for minor stress. They become even more vital during challenging times. Instead of a 5-minute deep breathing session, you might need longer, more frequent practice. Your recovery ritual might shift from a relaxing bath to needing several days of reduced activity, if possible.
So, it's about intensifying what we already know works, rather than reinventing the wheel?
Precisely. Think of it as turning up the volume on your existing resilience tools. We also need to be adaptable. If your usual recovery ritual, perhaps going for a run, becomes impossible due to illness or injury, what's the alternative? It might be gentle stretching, listening to calming music, or spending time in nature if mobility allows. It's about flexibility within your established framework.
That's a great point about flexibility. It's easy to get rigid with our routines, but when life shifts, our routines might need to shift with it.
Absolutely. And this brings us to a critical concept: preventing burnout. When navigating chronic or intense stressors, the risk of burnout increases significantly. Burnout isn't just feeling tired, it's a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. It happens when the demands placed on you consistently exceed your resources.
Burnout sounds terrifying. How can our advanced navigation strategies help us avoid that abyss?
The first defense against burnout is vigilance. Are you noticing the early warning signs? These can include chronic fatigue, cynicism or detachment, and a reduced sense of accomplishment. If you're experiencing these, it's a flashing red light. This is where proactive adaptation is key.
So, we need to be honest with ourselves about how we're feeling, even if it's uncomfortable.
Very honest. And then, we need to be courageous in making necessary adjustments. This might mean setting firmer boundaries. If your work demands are overwhelming, you might need to be more assertive about what you can realistically achieve, perhaps delegating tasks or even renegotiating deadlines. This is where the courage to protect your energy becomes paramount.
Setting boundaries can be challenging, especially if we feel we need to prove ourselves or we don't want to let anyone down.
It is challenging, but essential for long-term sustainability. Remember, in advanced stress navigation, we're not just managing stress in the moment. We're managing our capacity over time. Another crucial strategy is what I call strategic rest. This isn't just sleeping at night. It's intentionally scheduling periods of downtime during the day, even if they are short, to recharge. It's like a pit stop for a race car. It slows things down momentarily, but allows it to continue at high performance.
Strategic rest. I like that. So, a 5-minute walk outside in the middle of a hectic workday, or a brief period of quiet meditation, even if you feel you don't have time for it.
Exactly. And if the stressors are prolonged, we might need to consider larger adjustments. This could involve reevaluating commitments, seeking professional support, like therapy or counseling, or even making significant life changes if the situation is truly untenable. This is the highest level of adaptation, recognizing that sometimes the environment itself needs to change.
Those are big decisions, but when faced with chronic, overwhelming stress, sometimes they are the necessary ones for our well-being. It's about survival and thriving, not just enduring.
Precisely. And throughout this process, maintaining a sense of perspective is vital. When you're in the thick of a difficult situation, it can feel all-consuming. Remind yourself of your capabilities, your past successes in overcoming challenges, and the broader context of your life. This is where positive reframing techniques we discussed earlier can be incredibly powerful, even if it feels difficult.
So, to recap this advanced navigation, first, acknowledge the scale and complexity of the stressor. Then, intensify and adapt your existing resilience tools. Be vigilant about the signs of burnout and proactively set boundaries to protect your energy. Implement strategic rest and, if necessary, be prepared for larger adjustments or even significant life changes. And finally, maintain perspective.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. Advanced stress navigation is about being an agile pilot of your own life, capable of adjusting course and intensity when the conditions demand it. It's about deep resilience, not just a quick fix. We build robust systems, and then we learn how to perform essential maintenance and upgrades when life throws us into more turbulent skies.
It's empowering to know we have these capabilities within us and that we can learn to hone them further.
Indeed, we'll explore the role of mindfulness in developing that anti-fragile quality, being able to not just withstand stress, but to actually grow stronger from it.
Fantastic! It sounds like our next episode will show us how mindfulness can help us become truly anti-fragile.
That's right. For today, that's our dive into advanced stress navigation. Remember, your resilience is a dynamic thing, and learning to adapt is key to navigating life's more complex journeys. Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Last time we covered advanced stress navigation. Now, let's explore mindfulness and anti-fragility.
That's right, Alex. We've talked a lot about building resilience, but this idea of anti-fragility is really fascinating. It's not just about bouncing back from stress, but actually getting stronger because of it. And mindfulness seems like a key ingredient in that process.
Precisely, Lisa. So what is mindfulness at its core? Think of it as paying attention on purpose in the present moment and without judgment. It's about being fully aware of what's happening right now, your thoughts, your feelings, your bodily sensations, and your surroundings, without getting carried away by them.
So, it's not about emptying your mind, but about observing it without getting entangled. That's a really helpful distinction. We often think of mindfulness as sitting for meditation, but it can be much broader, can it?
Absolutely. While formal meditation is a fantastic way to cultivate mindfulness, the practice extends to everyday activities. It could be savoring your morning coffee, truly listening to a friend, or even just noticing the sensation of walking. It's about bringing a quality of mindful presence to whatever you are doing.
And how does this connect to that idea of anti-fragility? We've discussed reframing stress, and this seems like a different but complementary approach.
It is. Remember how we talked about reframing stress as a challenge or an opportunity? Mindfulness enhances this by changing our relationship to stress. Instead of being a victim of our stressful thoughts and emotions, mindfulness allows us to become an observer. This observation creates a crucial space between a stressor and our reaction to it.
Ah, I see. So, a stressor happens, and instead of immediately reacting with a cascade of anxious thoughts or physiological responses, mindfulness gives us a moment to pause, notice, and then choose our response. That space is where anti-fragility really kicks in, isn't it?
Exactly. Without that space, we're like a delicate vase that shatters when a pebble is thrown at it. Fragile. With mindfulness, we start to become more like a reed that bends in the wind but doesn't break, or even a well-built structure that is reinforced by the very forces that might try to knock it down. This ability to not just withstand stress, but to grow from it, is the essence of anti-fragility.
Can you give us a concrete example of how mindfulness helps create this space?
Certainly. Imagine you're stuck in traffic. Your immediate, automatic response might be frustration, anger, and a racing heart. You might start imagining all the terrible things that will happen because you're late. That's a reactive state. Now, imagine practicing mindfulness in that situation. You'd notice the frustration rising. You'd acknowledge it. Okay, I'm feeling frustrated right now. You notice the tightness in your chest or shoulders. You'd observe your thoughts about being late without necessarily believing them as absolute truths.
And in that moment of observation, the intensity of the frustration or anger might lessen, or at least you wouldn't be completely consumed by it.
Precisely. You've created a bit of distance. From that mindful vantage point, you can then choose a more constructive response. Perhaps you decide to listen to a podcast you enjoy, practice some deep breathing, or simply accept the situation and mentally adjust your arrival time. This shift from automatic reaction to intentional response is a hallmark of mindfulness in action, building our anti-fragile capacity.
So, mindfulness acts like a buffer, or perhaps more accurately, a transformer, turning a potentially damaging stressor into an opportunity for a more thoughtful, resilient reaction.
That's a great way to put it. And the neuroscience backs this up. Regular mindfulness practice has been shown to actually change the structure and function of the brain. It can strengthen the part of the brain responsible for decision making, focus, and emotional regulation. At the same time, it can help to calm the brain's alarm system, making us less prone to overreacting to perceived threats.
So, it's literally rewiring our brains to be less reactive and more resilient. That's incredible. Are there specific mindfulness techniques we can use to cultivate this skill?
Yes, and we'll explore more in future episodes, but let's touch on a couple now. One of the most accessible is mindful breathing. You simply focus your attention on the sensation of your breath entering and leaving your body. when your mind wanders, and it will, that's what minds do, you gently, kindly bring your attention back to your breath. This act of noticing your mind has wandered and returning your focus is the core practice.
That sounds simple, yet profound. It's like training a puppy, gently guiding it back when it gets distracted.
An excellent analogy. Another technique is mindful body scan. This involves systematically bringing your awareness to different parts of your body, noticing any sensations without judgment. You might notice warmth in your hands, tension in your shoulders, or the feeling of your feet on the ground. This practice helps you become more attuned to your physical experience, which is often where stress first manifests.
And by becoming more aware of these physical cues, we can catch stress much earlier before it escalates.
Exactly. It's like having an early warning system. When you notice that familiar tension creeping into your jaw, for instance, you can intervene with a mindful pause or a gentle stretch rather than letting it build into a full-blown headache. This proactive awareness is a cornerstone of anti-fragility. You're not just reacting to damage, you're actively preventing it and even using the signals to strengthen yourself.
So, to summarize for our listeners, mindfulness is about present moment, non judgmental awareness. It creates a vital space between a stressor and our reaction, allowing us to choose our response rather than being automatically driven by stress. This skill helps us become anti fragile, meaning we don't just bounce back, but actually grow stronger from challenging experiences. Simple techniques like mindful breathing and body scans are excellent starting points.
You've got it. This practice of mindfulness isn't about eliminating stress from your life. That's an unrealistic goal. Instead, it's about transforming your relationship with stress. It's about cultivating an inner stillness and clarity that allows you to navigate life's inevitable challenges with greater wisdom, resilience, and ultimately, with a sense of robust well-being. By integrating mindfulness, we're not just stress-proofing our lives. We're actively making ourselves more robust, capable of thriving in the face of adversity.
It's a powerful shift in perspective, moving from being buffeted by stress to learning how to harness its energy. This connects so well with our previous discussions on reframing. If reframing is changing the narrative about stress, mindfulness is changing our internal witness to stress.
That's a perfect way to describe it. It's about becoming the calm observer of your own experience, rather than being swept away by the storm. And this cultivates our ability to not just survive challenges, but to emerge from them more capable and resilient than before.
Thank you, Alex. This has been incredibly insightful. We've learned how mindfulness isn't just a relaxation technique, but a fundamental practice for building true anti-fragility.
And in our next episode, we'll be exploring how to cultivate inner strength and self-compassion, two more vital components for a truly stress-proof life. Next episode, cultivating inner strength and self-compassion. Welcome back. Last time we explored mindfulness for an anti-fragile mindset.
Today, we're diving into inner strength and self-compassion. How do these internal resources build our resilience?
Inner strength isn't about being tough or avoiding vulnerability. It's recognizing your capacity to face challenges and keep moving forward. It's that persistent voice saying, I can handle this, or I will get through this.
I like that. It's not about pretending things aren't hard, but about knowing you have the ability to navigate the hardness. How does this relate to our previous discussions on reframing stress?
Self-compassion is the vital bridge. When we're reframing, we're actively changing our perspective. But sometimes, the situations we're reframing are painful. If we're beating ourselves up about a mistake or a setback, reframing becomes incredibly difficult. Self-compassion allows us to approach those difficult situations with kindness.
So, instead of being our own harshest critic, Self-compassion means treating ourselves with the same understanding and support we'd offer a good friend going through a tough time.
Precisely. Dr. Kristen Neff, a leading researcher in self-compassion, outlines three core components. The first is self-kindness, which is about being warm and understanding toward ourselves when we suffer, fail, or feel inadequate, rather than ignoring our pain or criticizing ourselves.
That's the opposite of perfectionism, which often drives us to be incredibly hard on ourselves. So, self-kindness is about gentleness. What are the other two components?
Next is common humanity. This is the recognition that suffering and personal inadequacy are part of the shared human experience, something we all go through, rather than something that happens to me alone. It helps to see that we're not isolated in our struggles.
That's a powerful counter to feelings of loneliness or shame. When we feel like we're the only ones struggling with something, it amplifies the pain. Knowing that everyone experiences setbacks or difficult emotions makes it feel more manageable.
Exactly. The third component is mindfulness. This involves taking a balanced approach to our negative emotions so that they're neither suppressed nor exaggerated. It's about observing our thoughts and feelings without judgment, allowing ourselves to acknowledge them without getting lost in them.
So, self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. They sound like they work together beautifully. Self-kindness is the gentle response. Common humanity connects us to others, and mindfulness helps us stay grounded.
They are indeed interconnected. Think about a time you've made a mistake. Without self-compassion, you might say to yourself, "I'm so stupid. I always mess up." That's self-criticism. Then, the common humanity part might feel absent, leading to feelings of isolation. No one else would be this foolish. And mindfulness might be completely absent, as you're lost in a spiral of negative thoughts.
But with self-compassion, you might instead think, okay, that didn't go as planned. It's disappointing, but I'm human. I made a mistake, and that's okay. What can I learn from this? That sounds much more aligned with inner strength.
It absolutely is. This process of self-compassion directly supports our reframing efforts. If we're able to be kind to ourselves when we're experiencing stress or difficulty, we're more open to seeing situations from a different, more constructive perspective. We're not defending against self-criticism, which can be a huge barrier.
It creates a foundation of psychological safety that allows us to be more objective and less emotionally reactive to stressful situations. If we know we can handle our own self-judgment, we're freer to examine the external situation.
And this isn't just about being nice to ourselves. Research shows that self-compassionate individuals tend to be more motivated, more resilient, and have better mental health outcomes. They're less likely to suffer from anxiety and depression.
That's a significant benefit. It sounds almost counterintuitive. Being gentle leads to greater strength and motivation?
It challenges our common belief that harsh self-discipline is the only way to achieve goals. In reality, self-criticism often leads to avoidance and giving up because it feels too painful to face failure. Self-compassion, on the other hand, encourages us to try again, to learn, and to grow because we know we'll be there to support ourselves through the process.
So, how do we actively cultivate this? Are there specific practices we can incorporate?
Absolutely. One simple yet powerful practice is the self-compassion break. It involves three steps. First, acknowledge that you're suffering. Say to yourself, this is a moment of suffering. This is the mindfulness component.
Just naming it?
Yes. Then, connect with common humanity. Say, suffering is a part of life, or I'm not alone in my struggles. This reminds you that you're not uniquely flawed.
And the third step?
The third step is self-kindness. Place your hands over your heart or on your cheeks and offer yourself kind words. Say something like, "May I be kind to myself," or "May I accept myself as I am." This is offering yourself direct comfort and support.
A self-compassion break. That sounds very accessible for daily life. I can see how practicing that, even for a few moments during a stressful event, could make a big difference.
It can be a potent reset. Another practice is journaling, but with a self-compassionate lens. Instead of just venting frustrations, try writing about a difficult situation as if you were a compassionate friend. What advice would you give? What understanding would you offer?
This is like shifting our internal dialogue from critical to supportive. It's essentially practicing what we preach to others, but directing it inward.
Exactly. And remember, inner strength isn't built overnight. It's cultivated through consistent practice. By integrating self-compassion into our lives, we're not just managing stress, we're building a deeper, more sustainable form of resilience. We're reinforcing our ability to face adversity with grace, courage, and a fundamental belief in our own worth.
So, to recap, inner strength is our capacity to face challenges, and self-compassion, comprising self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness, is the crucial internal resource that allows us to approach ourselves with warmth and understanding, especially during difficult times. This fosters an anti-fragile mindset and significantly enhances our ability to reframe challenging situations. It's about treating ourselves like a supportive friend when we're struggling.
Well said, Lisa. Cultivating inner strength and self-compassion is like building armor not of steel, but of kindness and understanding, making us not just resistant to stress, but capable of thriving in its presence.
It's a beautiful way to look at it, building our inner core of resilience.
Next episode, we'll look at how to fortify our long-term vision for stress proofing.
That sounds like a crucial step in really cementing all these practices.
It truly is. Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Last time, we explored cultivating inner strength and self-compassion. Now, let's connect resilience practices to your grandest aspirations. We're talking about stress-proofing your long-term vision.
That sounds like the ultimate goal, Alex. We've built our resilience toolkits, but how does that translate into achieving big, future-oriented dreams? It can feel like two separate worlds.
That's a fantastic observation. Think of your long-term vision as a magnificent building. Each resilience practice is like a high-quality brick or a strong beam. Without them, the building would be unstable, vulnerable to the first storm.
So, the daily resilience work isn't just about surviving the present, but about building the capacity to achieve our future selves. It's about ensuring challenges don't derail us.
Exactly. A stress-proof life creates the mental, emotional, and physical resilience needed to persistently work towards your aspirations. Your long-term vision requires sustained effort, creativity, and adaptability, all byproducts of a resilient system. Let's touch on a few key areas. First, consider clarity and focus. To move towards a long-term vision, you need to break it down into actionable steps. When you're under siege from stress, your cognitive bandwidth shrinks. It's like trying to read a detailed map in a sandstorm. But with stress management, your mind is clearer. You can engage in strategic thinking and maintain focus. Remember our breathing and mindfulness discussions? They sharpen your ability to concentrate on what truly matters for your future.
When I'm overwhelmed, my big goals seem impossible. I can barely decide lunch. But when I'm consistent with meditation, the path forward feels more navigable.
Precisely. And that brings us to sustained motivation and drive. Long-term goals aren't achieved overnight. There will be setbacks and moments of doubt. Without resilience, these hurdles can extinguish motivation. But when you've built a strong internal foundation, challenges become learning opportunities, not reasons to quit. Your self-compassion helps you bounce back, and recovery rituals prevent burnout. This allows you to maintain enthusiasm over the long haul.
So, self-compassion isn't just about being nice to yourself. It's about giving yourself the grace to stumble and the encouragement to keep moving towards those bigger dreams.
You've nailed it. Thirdly, let's talk about adaptability and problem solving. The future is uncertain. The path to your long-term vision will rarely be a straight line. Circumstances will change, and unforeseen obstacles will appear. A resilient individual isn't rigid. They are flexible. They can pivot, adjust strategy, and find creative solutions. This stems from your ability to manage stress responses. When you're not reacting from panic, you can access higher-level thinking to devise new approaches. Designing your anti-fragile lifestyle prepares you for the unpredictable nature of pursuing ambitious goals.
That concept of anti-fragility is so powerful. It's not just about bouncing back, but about growing stronger through challenges, which is exactly what you need when you're pushing towards something significant.
Absolutely. And this leads us to enhanced creativity and innovation. Many long-term visions involve creating something new. Chronic stress can stifle creativity, putting your brain into survival mode. When you've stress-proofed your life, your brain is free to explore and connect ideas. The downtime from recovery rituals, the clarity from mindful practices, the energy from good sleep, all contribute to a fertile ground for innovation, often the engine of long-term success.
It's like stress management is the fertile soil, and our big ideas are the seeds that can sprout and grow in it.
That's a beautiful analogy. And finally, let's consider fulfillment and a greater sense of purpose. We pursue long-term visions to create a life that is meaningful and satisfying. When you're constantly battling stress, that deeper purpose can get lost. But by building resilience, you create the space to connect with what truly matters. You move from surviving to thriving. Achieving your long-term goals, powered by your resilience, brings a profound sense of accomplishment.
So, the stress proofing isn't just defensive, it's offensive, enabling us to proactively build the future we desire. It really ties everything together.
It does. And this isn't an all-or-nothing proposition. It's an ongoing journey. Identify one or two resilience practices that resonate and consciously link them to a specific long-term goal. For example, if financial security is a vision, dedicating a few minutes each day to calm planning, enabled by your breathing skills, can be the first step. Or if a creative project is your dream, scheduling stress-free time for focused work, supported by recovery rituals, can foster innovation.
It's about making conscious connections. We actively weave resilience and goals together.
Precisely. As you integrate these practices, the obstacles become less daunting. Your capacity to persevere grows. You develop the inner strength to keep moving forward. This is what it means to stress-proof your long-term vision, to build a robust, adaptable self that can navigate challenges with grace and unwavering purpose. To recap, a stress-proof life empowers your long-term vision by enhancing clarity and focus, sustaining motivation, fostering adaptability, boosting creativity, and leading to fulfillment and purpose. By applying the resilience tools we've explored, you are not just managing your present, you are architecting a future where your biggest dreams can flourish.
What a powerful way to think about it. All the hard work building our resilient systems enables us to reach for and achieve those larger, more meaningful goals.
Indeed. Next episode, we'll focus on sustaining these incredible resilience systems you've built, ensuring they become a lifelong practice. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to Stress Proof Your Life. Today, we're focusing on keeping your resilience system strong.
It's one thing to build a great system, but another to keep it working as you change and life happens. We've covered so much from audits and toolkits to breathing and sleep. Now, it's about making sure it all lasts.
Think of your resilience system like a garden. You need to keep tending to it. So, Lisa, how do we prevent that dreaded plateau where we stop actively managing our stress?
That's a real risk. When things feel calm, we might let our practices slide. We stop breathing exercises, skimp on sleep, or forget to connect with friends. The first step to avoid this is awareness, recognizing that a calm period isn't a finish line, but a chance for our habits to weaken.
Awareness is key. So, how do we actively fight that tendency to coast and keep our systems robust?
A powerful strategy is scheduled self-check-ins. Just like we did with our stress audits, set aside regular times, maybe quarterly, to review your resilience. Ask yourself, what's working? Where am I noticing a dip? Are new stressors appearing that my current systems aren't handling?
So, we're doing mini audits to catch complacency before it becomes a problem. That's about continuous improvement. What happens when life throws a curveball and our established systems feel a bit off? How do we adapt?
Adaptability is crucial for a strong system. When new stressors come up, a job change, a relationship shift, see them as chances to test and refine your resilience. It's not about forcing old habits if they don't work anymore. It's about thoughtfully adjusting or adding new tools.
Can you give us an example?
Let's say you love nature walks for stress relief, but a new job means less daylight for those walks. Instead of giving up your nature connection, you could adapt. Bring nature indoors with more plants, play nature sounds, or use your lunch break in a local park. The goal is to get the principle of the practice, not just the exact method.
That makes sense. We extract the core benefit and find new ways to get it. This connects to the idea of anti-fragility we discussed, right? Not just bouncing back, but getting stronger for challenges.
Exactly. And for that, we need to be open to evolution. Your resilient systems should grow as you do. Periodically revisit your core values and life goals. Are your current practices still supporting what matters most? Sometimes, a shift in priorities means a shift in how you manage stress.
That's an important point. Our resilient systems should support our long-term vision. So, we've covered check-ins and adaptation. What about the social side? How does our support network help us maintain resilience?
Your friends and family are your safety net, but they're also your mirror. Regularly connecting with them allows you to share your experiences, get feedback, and see where you might be struggling without realizing it. They can remind you of your strengths and encourage you to stick with your practices.
It's like having an accountability partner built into your life. But what if our support system also experiences stress? How do we navigate that without becoming overwhelmed ourselves?
That's a common challenge. It requires setting healthy boundaries. You can be supportive and empathetic without taking on someone else's stress as your own. It means knowing when to listen, when to offer practical help, and when to gently suggest they seek additional support. It also means communicating your own needs, letting your close circle know when you're feeling stretched thin, and need to focus on your own practices for a bit.
Boundaries are essential for maintaining both your own resilience and the health of your relationships. So, we're talking about conscious check-ins, adapting practices, aligning with values, and managing our social connections with clear boundaries. What about keeping the motivation high over the long haul? That can be tough.
Motivation often wanes, but discipline, built on habit, endures. The key is to make your resilience practices as automatic as possible. This is where habit stacking comes in handy, linking a new resilience practice to an existing, established habit. For instance, after you brush your teeth, immediately do 5 minutes of deep breathing. You already do it. Now you add something beneficial right after.
Connecting new habits to old ones definitely lowers the activation energy. What else can help maintain that internal drive? And with that, we've reached the very end of our journey through Stress Proof Your Life. It's been an incredible ride, hasn't it, Lisa?
Absolutely, Alex. It feels like just yesterday we were defining our stress landscapes. It's hard to believe we've covered so much ground.
We have. And today is all about acknowledging how far we've come. If you've been with us from the beginning, you've been actively building a comprehensive system for managing stress and enhancing your resilience. You aren't just surviving stress anymore. You're truly stress-proofing your life.
That's a fantastic way to put it. We started with understanding our personal stress triggers, our individual stress landscapes, as we called them. Remember episode 2? We talked about identifying those internal and external pressures that tend to throw us off balance.
Right? And we couldn't just identify them. We needed to audit them. Episodes 3 and 4 were dedicated to conducting a personal stress audit, really digging deep into where stress was coming from and how it was manifesting in our lives. It's about honest self-assessment.
And that audit paved the way for building our daily resilience toolkit, which we started in episode 6. This was about proactive measures, the small, consistent actions that build protective layers against stress before it even hits. Those included our recovery rituals from episode 7, like taking short breaks or engaging in mindful activities.
And of course, the power of our breath. Episodes 8 and 9 focused on foundational breathing techniques, showing how a simple inhale and exhale could be an instant reset button, bringing calm and focus whenever we need it. It's such an accessible tool.
It truly is. Then we explored the nurturing embrace of nature in episode 10 and how connecting with the outdoors can be incredibly grounding. And we absolutely have to talk about sleep. Episodes 11 and 12 delved into the neuroscience of sleep and how to optimize our sleep architecture for better resilience. Getting quality sleep is non-negotiable for stress proofing.
Absolutely. And as much as we build internal strength, our external support systems are vital. Episodes 13 and 14 were all about the unshakable foundation of social support, nurturing our tribes and understanding that we don't have to go through things alone. Strong connections are a buffer against stress.
That's so true. Then we moved into the fascinating realm of cognitive reframing. Episodes 15 and 16 taught us how to shift our perspective on stress, turning challenges into opportunities for growth through positive reframing techniques. It's about changing the narrative in our minds.
And from the mind, we move to the body. Episodes 17 and 18 were about releasing tension. We learned body-based wisdom, understanding that our bodies hold stress, and we explored practical methods for releasing that accumulated tension.
This was such a critical part for me, learning to listen to my body. And then, in episode 19, we started designing our anti-fragile lifestyle. This is the idea of not just bouncing back, but actually becoming stronger in the face of adversity.
Exactly. And to make that a reality, episode 20 focused on integrating these proactive systems into our daily lives. It's not about having a perfect plan, but about having consistent, integrated practices. This led us into episode 21, where we built our personal resilience blueprint, a personalized roadmap.
And then we really leveled up the skills in the last few episodes. Episode 22 introduced advanced stress navigation techniques for those more complex situations. Episode 23 explored the role of mindfulness in anti-fragility, helping us stay present and grounded.
We also cultivated inner strength and self-compassion in episode 24. It's so important to be kind to ourselves, especially when we're facing challenges. And that brought us to episode 25, where we looked at stress-proofing our long-term vision, ensuring our resilience supports our biggest goals.
And finally, in episode 26, we focused on sustaining these resilient systems. It's not a one-time fix. It's an ongoing practice. We learned how to maintain momentum and adapt our systems as life evolves.
And that brings us to today, episode 27. Congratulations, you are stress-proof. You've armed yourself with a comprehensive set of tools and strategies. You've learned to identify your stress, proactively build resilience, manage your physical and mental responses, leverage your social connections, and crucially, to adapt and grow stronger from challenges.
It really is a holistic approach. We've covered everything from the micro practices, like deep breathing and short recovery rituals, to the macro strategies, like building strong social networks and creating an anti-fragile lifestyle. You've learned to become the architect of your own well-being.
Think back to where you were when you started this series. Perhaps you felt overwhelmed, constantly reacting to stress, or struggling to find balance. Now, you have a framework, a set of reliable tools, and a deeply ingrained understanding of how to not just cope, but to thrive. You've built systems that support you, not just when things are easy, but especially when life gets tough.
And the beauty of these systems is that they become second nature with practice. The breathing techniques, the mindfulness moments, the connection with nature, the checking in with your support network, these become integrated parts of your day, your week, your life.
Remember the concept of anti-fragility, the idea of becoming stronger through adversity? You've actively cultivated that. Each challenge you navigate using these tools isn't just overcome. It's an opportunity to reinforce your resilience, to learn more about yourself, and to build even greater capacity for what's next.
So, as we wrap up this series, take a moment to acknowledge your progress. Celebrate the effort, the learning, and the implementation. You've done the work. You've built your resilience. You are, in essence, stress proof.
That doesn't mean life won't present challenges. It will. But now you have the knowledge, the skills, and the mindset to face them head on, not with dread, but with confidence and a deep sense of inner strength. You have stress-proofed your life.
It's been an honor to go on this journey with you all. The work you've done to stress proof your life is a testament to your commitment to well being. Keep practicing, keep evolving, and keep thriving.
Thank you for joining us for all 27 episodes of Stress Proof Your Life. We truly hope you feel empowered and ready to meet whatever comes your way.
Thanks for listening to this series.